to order. It's 9:05. Can I get an invocation by Mr. Bradford?
Let us stand. Let's bow here. Dear Father, we thank you this morning, God, for allowing us to see another meeting, oh God. Father, we just thank you for allowing us to see another day. And Father, we just carefully give your name all honor, praise, and glory. And Father, we just ask right now, Lord God, that you continue to keep the elected officials lifted up, oh God. Continue to keep them in our prayers. Keep them protected and their families, and let them do the will of your people, oh God. Father, we just pray for this community. We pray for this city. We pray for this county. And we pray for this state. We also pray for this country, oh God. Father, we want to pray for any families that may have lost any loved ones on the last 2 weeks. Father, we just ask that you comfort them. And Father, continue to keep us safe, oh God, through this pandemic. Bless our teachers. Keep our kids safe. Bless our first responders, our nurses, and our doctors. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Okay. Can you give us the pledge also?
Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is approval of the minutes. Have everyone read the minutes?
So moved.
Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Got a motion by Supervisor Wilson, second by Supervisor Gray. Any discussion?
Yes, ma'am, Madam President, with the necessary correction.
Yeah, there was a couple of corrections. It's just a typo that we'll get straightened
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
out.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carried unanimously. Okay, next on the agenda is approval of the financial reports. Is the sheriff, you got the reports? Yes, ma'am. Randy, okay, that's the sheriff report and the transfer clerk. Can I get a motion?
So,
Got a motion by Supervisor Gaines, second by Supervisor Gray. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carried unanimously. Next on the agenda, we got Mr. Kenny Jackson with Natchez County property taxes.
yeah, docket.
Where's the document? Okay, I skipped it. Let me get up. Let me do this first. No, let me do this first. I gotta get the approval of the docket.
All right.
Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Got a motion by Supervisor Gray, second by Supervisor Gaines. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carried unanimously. Okay, Mr. Jackson.
Do I need to come up?
Yes,
Go to
sir.
the mic.
Oh, okay.
Don't think you got them all, it's not working.
Speak up.
He talked loud. You want me to come to the front or just
I know.
like? Okay, I'm here representing Natchez Toyota. I'm the general manager. And it's concerning, the 2019 personal ad valorem tax that was not paid. And, it came to my attention in the last month, and I was scheduling a meeting with y'all at this forum to, give you an idea of, first of all, we're not here not to pay tax. We're, the Natchez Auto Ventures bought Natchez Toyota, October of 18. And since then, we bought Natchez Chevrolet, Natchez Nissan, and Natchez Dodge. We're glad to be here. The owner is investing a lot of money in the county. Has bought 2 parcels of land to build new dealerships. So we're glad to be here and be a corporate member of our community and pay our tax and pay what we should pay. It was a oversight on our part. The man that had our dealership, which is Toyota of Natchez, and we're Natchez Toyota, was John Stelly. The ad valorem tax was mailed to him, which he resides, I think, in Lake Charles, Lafayette, okay? He has a different, when he owned it, he had a different PIN number than what Natchez Toyota has. It went to him, he didn't forward it to us. Also on the personal ad valorem part, his inventory amount was tremendously more than what our current inventory amount is, which would be our parts and our oil, okay? So we have paid our 2020. So we're up to date on that. It's 2019 that I'm asking for, maybe a concession or a reduction if y'all see fit to do that. The ad valorem tax part was based on an inventory of about 5 million. And all I'm asking for is a concession, maybe do 90% of that, which would come out to about 118,000 versus maybe 139 or 40, whatever it was. So that's what I'm asking for. If y'all would let us pay the 118, if we could do that, I could have we're going to pay it on time. We're going to remit it as soon as possible, but I would like to use that amount if that's okay and y'all see fit to let us do that. And that's about the size of where I'm coming from this morning. So we can have a check anyway by this afternoon or in the morning. So any questions for me or anything? Yeah.
Go ahead, Ken.
What was the difference in the inventory for his versus yours?
2000, his was 5 million, ours in 2020 was about $1 million.
That's correct.
Yes, ma'am. And before Mr. Staley took over, it was only 43,000. But I did call in 18 whenever I received the rendition because I had this thing about calling when things look out of place. But they assured me that was correct. So
Yeah. I just,
Legally.
that's gonna be a real issue. There's not a lot we can do when it comes to personal property, but what I'd like to do is get with Peggy and with you, because I know that I'm pretty confident that there was some duplication on the taxes. I think y'all got sent. So I want to make sure what are we looking at, and
Okay.
I know that there's one penalty which is 25% or 50% of the amount owed that the board can look at that and take care of that. But as far as the regular penalties and interest and values, I'll have to see with Peggy if there's stuff we can do on it or not. It depends on timing and all that. So I can look at and report back to the board. But I want to get with Peggy, make sure I have the right pen before we, tell you got to pay this, that, or the other. But I can get with Kenny and see, report back to y'all. Yeah, I know we want to help as much as we can, but also they don't want to go to jail for helping me.
We're not.
A lot of personal property, it is what it is, but if there's, there might be some that comes to that penalty, the final penalty, not the interest on it.
Yeah, we were paying it based on Stelly's number, not based on our number,
Okay.
our real number. Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Do I need-
Anything?
Make sure you get on your way out if you're headed out.
Is that okay? Can I
Yep.
be just, okay.
Just give yourself a Corvette, so that way I'll have something to call
I'll
you.
do it.
Okay, thank
All
you.
right, thank y'all. Appreciate your service.
All right, you.
All right.
All right. Mr. Robert Purnell.
Madam Chair, members of the board, and those at the dais, my name is Robert Purnell, and I'm before you with some information about what we're doing. We have a committee that is formed. It's called the Natchez U.S. Colored Troops Monument Committee. And our objective is to build a monument that will recognize those slaves that joined the U.S. Army and so 3,000 African American Army and Navy that helped fight the Civil War. So what we're here today asking the board is to help us advertise that. This is not anything that the committee is going to do on its own. We need suggestions from our citizens, our community. So this will be And what we're having is a community-wide meeting so that we can, so it's county and city, and what we want to do is get information from the community as to where the monument would be, what it would look like, you know, how do we trace our ancestors. So one of the things that we wanted to do was come to the board and just brief the board and answer any questions. So before I get started, I want to introduce a couple of people that are with me. First of all, the Executive Director of Visit Natchez, Mr. Devin Heat, who is a member of who chairs a subcommittee. Mr. Heat chairs the
Site selection.
Yes. So Mr. Heat chairs the
Site selection.
site subcommittee. So that's where the monument will be built. And then, of course, Mr. Roscoe Barnes chairs the PR and marketing committee. We have 5 committees. I'll be very brief because Mr. Roscoe is going to kind of outline how you guys can help us get the word out. We have a history and research subcommittee that's chaired by Ms. Deborah Fontaine. She has 7 descendants that fought in the Civil War. So she's been doing this research. She knows how to do it. We also have a marketing and PR that I talked about with Mr. Roscoe Barnes. And then we have a finance and subcommittee, and that's chaired by the mayor. So at some point, we're gonna get to how much all this costs. But right now, we are focused on just getting the best monument in the best place to represent Natchez and Adams County. We also have a monument design committee that's chaired by Lance Harris. Lance is chairing that committee. And we have a site subcommittee that I talked about with Mr. Devin Heath. The reason we're here today is, and I'll have Mr. Roscoe talk about this, is to help get the word out. Now, we've been in the paper. He's done a lot of things. It's on the website. But we want to hear from the community. This is not our project as a committee. It is the community's project. So when we start, we're gonna have this meeting on November 10th at the community center. But we don't want anyone to say, well, I didn't know about it, I didn't have any input, and etc. That's the way it goes. So what we're doing is informing the community as best we can about the meeting, and they'll have an opportunity to voice their concerns, make suggestions on where it's gonna go, what it's gonna look like, what type of technology is gonna be there. And so, without ado, I'm gonna bring up Mr. Roscoe Barnes to tell you a little bit about what he's doing in terms of getting the word out.
Good morning.
Morning.
I believe you all have received a copy of the handout this morning, and it gives you some general information about what we are doing. We're here to request your support, and you can support us in a number of ways. First of all, we would like your support. We would like for all of you to attend the meeting in some way. The meeting is set for 6 o'clock Wednesday, November the 10th, the day before Veterans Day, and it will be at the Natchez Convention Center. It is possible for all of you to attend because not only can you attend in person, but now we have a setup that will allow you to attend virtually. So you can still watch and observe what's taking place. So we value your support, but we also want your input. If you, as leaders in this community, have ideas about this monument, then we want to hear those ideas. We want to get your thoughts about what we can do and how we can move forward. We also need your support in getting the word out. If you're able to assist us by means of advertising in the local news media or radio, of course, we welcome that. But if that's not possible, we also welcome your help in just simply sharing the information with your constituents. You can do that by email. You can do that through the social media platform. I'm happy to say that we now have an official page on Facebook. You can follow us where you can see updates about what's taking place with the monument. You can simply go to Facebook and look up Natchez U.S. Colored Troops USCT Monument Committee. And so you can help us in that way as well. In the handout, I outlined some of the things that we have done so far. I believe you all have been receiving emails from me, correct?
Okay.
Okay, I didn't mean to bombard you with but that's one of the easy ways to because we want our elected officials. Emails have gone out to you, to business leaders, to churches, to school officials. We want as many people as possible to know about this upcoming meeting. And as Chairman Purnell has said, this is not the committee's project. This is a community project. And so we want the community's input, but we really want the input from our elected officials. So we're using email, we're using the local newspapers, we're using social media, not just Facebook. We're using Instagram, we're using LinkedIn, we're using Twitter and Tumblr. We're trying to use all the available tools out there to get the words out. And you also have a copy of the flyer, which was designed and approved last week. And so if you can share that, if you can post it somewhere, we have copies available by email. You can even share that by email. And so again, we look to you for help and we look to you for your wisdom, for your knowledge, for your support in any way that you can provide it. Any questions or comments?
Do anyone have any questions?
My only question is, I know you say you're gonna go through the churches, and I think that's a good way to do it, because we have a lot of senior citizens out there that don't do Facebook and don't do social media, period, and they're not up to speed on getting information through this new technology that we're dealing with. How would we go by getting information to those people that probably have a wealth of knowledge about exactly what you're talking about? Because I don't have no knowledge about this. I know I heard about it, but those older individuals probably could tell you a little something about this, because I know I can't.
Well, that's a good question. And again, that underscores our reason for being here today. We need help. And we're asking everybody that we contact to contact somebody else. The church is an effective way because announcements are made in church every week. Either, the flyers can be given to the churches, or announcements can be placed in the church bulletins, or the news can be shared by someone in the congregation. So that would be one way. We do have members of the Board of Aldermen who have said they will also hit the streets, that they will literally place the poster in certain locations. And that's why, again, we are asking the community and everybody to help us, either by word of mouth. But you make a very good point. Everybody's not using email. Everybody's not on Facebook. That's true. But those who are using email, those who are using social media, they know people who are not on those platforms. And so we're asking you to reach out to your contacts. There is a thing in a ministry called, known as the Navigators, where they say, everyone win one. Of course, they were talking about discipleship and Christianity and what have you. But that concept is relevant here. Everyone win one. Everybody knows somebody. And so even if we cannot reach 100 or 1,000, through our businesses, we can place posters on the walls, in the windows, and we can talk to people through word of mouth. But those are some of the ideas that we have. But again, we welcome your input on it as well.
I'm glad the Democrat is here, because that is one way of getting it out too, through the Democrat. Because a lot of elderlies, how they keep up with things is through the Democrat. They usually get paper, so they'll keep up with it.
Thank you very much.
So that's good. So Marina, so you put
Yes.
that right.
As noted in the handout, we've been working with the Natchez Democrat, and we are grateful to the Natchez Democrat for all. They've run a number of stories, but we're also working with the Bluff City Post. We've had a number of items published there. And we are working with the Concordia Sentinel across the water. They've been publicizing it. In fact, I've received calls from Vidalia, from people, and I said, where did you hear about it? Where did you see it? And they saw it in the paper in Vidalia. So we're definitely doing that. And Chairman Purnell and I also have met with one of the radio stations. And we did a program a while back, it's been a few weeks now, where we talked about it. And we're also reaching out to the military community. Because, this is about history, it's about the military. And one other thing before I close. It is estimated that of the more than 3,000 men who served with the colored troops, there was over 3,000, some were in the Navy. And we want to recognize those who were stationed at Fort McPherson, okay? Or those who were born there, who served in the Navy. We want to get their names. We already have their names, but we want their names to be on this monument. So that's important, all right? That's something that we want to highlight. But if there's anything else that anybody has that they could give us, because this is about the troops, this is about the men who serve, it's history, it's military. And so, but it is estimated, and I almost lost my point there, it is estimated that about 90% of the African Americans in Natchez and in Adams County are descendants of these colored troops, but they don't know it. And so we have also provided stories with tips on how you can determine your relationship, whether or not you are a descendant of the colored troops. Think about that. Up to 90% African Americans right here, there's a very good chance you are a descendant. We do have, including Alderwoman, is it Hall, Valencia Hall? She is related. She is a descendant of several U.S. colored troops, I'm told. And so that's the other thing that we're trying to get out, because we want to recognize those too who are descendants. So there's a lot of exciting stuff going on, a lot of discoveries. Natchez has so much to offer, and we are glad to be a part of it. Any other questions or comments?
Okay, thank you. No, that'll be all.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Next on the agenda.
Oh, I would just add that we're going to have a link to for those who don't know. We're going to pass out a sheet at the meeting with a link that they can go on and research it themselves. Because we can't research all of that stuff, but there is a way that you can go on and find out whether or not you are a descendant of the African American troops. So all of that's going on. I appreciate the county, all of the supervisors. I live in the county, so I gotta bring this to you guys. I gotta bring it. But if you have any questions, you can contact me or you can contact Mr. Roscoe. And before I leave, I just wanted to, I've introduced Devin, just see if he wanted to say a few words. This is his first time. He is, he's never shy, but I guess he's shy.
Yeah, I think for brevity, we'll consider.
All right, thank you very much.
Appreciate everything. Thank you. Do we have any city government business? Any city government business? Okay. Next on the agenda is departmental reports. I'm gonna give Mr. Sedley Gaines first, because he has to go somewhere.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We got a few brief things we going. Like we reopened back up on MLK, all traffic today. The road reopened. We're going to the Allenton Bar. And most all we putting out, the crew putting out voting boxes for election tomorrow. We getting that put out today and we will be picking back up Wednesday. Got one more thing we got going down on Allison Bottom. We are changing out two of the old bridges, well, to the dry structure because they're not really bridges, it's got a bridge across. We gonna replace them with cover. So that'll be, we'll be working on that this week. Basically, that's all we had going for right now until Mr. Dollar get back.
Do anyone have any questions?
Madam President, there was an employee that had turned in their resignation and decided he wanted to keep his job. Robbie went and talked with all the people that, he has a little committee that hires, and it was unanimous that they wanted to keep him on the committee. So if we can just note that on the minutes that this employee's gonna stay. Again, he technically separated from his employment, but the hiring committee decided they wanted to let him stay on. So it's one of those things. It's not automatic. If you typically do your resignation, that doesn't mean you can undo that resignation without permission from the rest of the hiring committee because they'd already advertised it and whatnot.
So, did we make a motion to accept his
We did.
resignation?
Yeah.
So now we need to turn around and make a,
A motion to
Basically,
accept his
Reinstatement. Yes, sir. And we got a letter to
Yeah.
reflect all that. And again, it wasn't just Robbie, it was a group decision from all of them.
Got a motion by Supervisor Gray,
Second.
second by Supervisor Gaines. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carried unanimously.
Well, I ain't running, but we got a lot we need to try and accomplish this week, so I'm gonna move it forward. I'm gonna move out.
well, before you go, I talked to Robbie, I didn't realize he was out of town. Make sure, the voting precincts in District 4 been sanitized because election.
Well, we had did that Thursday and they went back this morning and they cleaned it up.
All right,
So everything good.
You got something?
I took it.
Thank you.
All
All
right.
right, appreciate you.
Y'all have a blessed day.
You too. Ms. Francis Bell.
Good morning.
Good morning.
The only thing I wanted to, bring forth tomorrow this morning is that the road department, requested a motor grader, and the motor graders were on state contract. So the, two companies that were on state contract were Striblin and Puckett. And Striblin had the best price. I've given those prices and copies of the quotes to pass them to Paige. And I'm gonna give you all the price for both of them. But the reason why we were able to get quotes in from the companies is because the portion of it that's not on state contract that's important to the road department is the buyback. And that's not a part of the state contract price, but that's important to the road department so they can see which one is the better buy for them. So with Striblin, the price of the motor grader was $275,596, and the buyback at 5 years is gonna be $100,000. And the price for the Puckett motor grader was $342,718.24. And the buyback for it is, how do you put my buyback for this? $150,000, that's right. So, of course, the road department wanted to go along with Striblin, because of the price of it being at $275,000. And that's why I wanted to make a recommendation to you all for this morning.
You heard the recommendation from the purchasing clerk, can I get a motion?
Move.
Got a motion by Supervisor Gaines,
Second.
second by Supervisor Wilson, any discussion?
Yeah, the buyback, I mean, are we good buying equipment right now? Is that when we wanna, what's the, the time frame of when the equipment will arrive and finance and all that?
It's gonna be a while.
It's gonna be a while anyway, so it'll be probably the beginning of the year.
That's why they started now, because it's taking a long time to get the equipment in now.
As long as it's by the beginning of the year, then we can do.
It's gonna be after the beginning of the year.
It's gonna be several months.
Okay, right.
Thank you.
All in favor say aye,
Uh,
all opposed nay. The ayes have it, motion carried unanimously. Anything else?
That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Mr. Jimmy Ware. For recreation. You have anything?
I think I was, Scott, excuse me. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I think, Faye Lyon told me y'all needed to see me, y'all had some discussions on the, part-time workers. I think the way you all are paying them is you're paying the part-time worker 20 hours a week, which is fine during the off season, but during May through Labor Day is, we're working 14, 15 hours a day. I don't see how you can get around paying part-time employees, so that's something that they told me we had to come and discuss with you. On a typical day, we start at 6 o'clock in the morning. Faye Minor usually come in and open up for lap swimming. Then we have Cathedral come in, then we have special letters come in, we gotta have somebody there. Then we do swim lessons from 10 to 12, and we open up for regular swimming from 12 to 6, and then we have adult swim from 6 to 8. So that's a pretty long day, and I usually come in and help them. So we was getting a lot of sugar for a dime. Now, if you take the dime away, I can't give you my sugar. You know what I'm saying? Because I've been volunteering trying to help this out, and I'm not gonna do it and then lay somebody off. It just can't do it that way. So a typical week, you know, we work them hard during the summer, and then we kind of make up for it during the winter hours and they get some of their time back. So it's been a thing that we had going on with the Recreation Commission. So therefore, we wasn't paying no overtime or nothing like that. So I think we have a problem. It wasn't thought through because when you was laying out this, you didn't come to the committee to see how we was working this. So right now we got a problem now. So we're here trying to solve this. So I'm here for y'all input since, you know, I'm on the back end of this.
When I talked to Faye and Crystal, the plan that y'all have submitted is legal, but you've got to track your time so that if you work 14 hours one week, later on in the winter when you're getting comp time, it has to add up evenly. And then if someone resigns still having comp time, now they're entitled to overtime. So it all has to add itself out. The boards didn't give you direction as to what hours and so forth. That would fall under the commission. But we gave you parameters of a budget. You got to stay within that budget. That's what I told Crystal and Faye. It's a legal way of doing things, comp time, but you just have to make sure your time is tracked precisely. For instance, if someone only works 10 hours, they can't get an extra hour or two on comp time later on. It's got to all balance itself out.
I understand what you're saying, but when it comes down to doing scheduling during the summertime, it depends on how many lifeguards we got. That's how many days we determine we're gonna be open. You know, like this year we had Sunday and Monday off because we still did swim lesson on Monday, but we didn't have a lifeguard, so we had to condense our hours. The more lifeguard we get, the more time you're gonna spend over there.
Yeah,
so
I'm not saying any of that. All I'm saying is whatever it is, you got to make sure the hours balance itself out. That's all I'm saying. And I think the ILA, it kind of puts those decisions of time and when the hours of operation and so forth will fall under the commission. The only thing that the commission has to do is keep within the parameters of the budget.
Well, we have been doing it, but it's kind of hard. Well, that's what I'm saying. We throw the budget out there. Now, what we're going to have to try to work around is you got a part-time employee. Right now, you're working all during this time here, 20 hours a week. Now, when the summertime is going to come in, they're going to work 10 or 12 hours a day. And, you know, to keep up with it, if you're paying them part-time during the 1 hour, we're going to have to give them so much time off that I don't understand how we're going to do it. It's the problem there.
I don't.
That's something we got to sit down and work through. And I was called, I think I was supposed to come try to answer the question, but I don't have the answer to that just yet.
Mr. Ware, who called you to, who called you to tell you to come answer the question?
What happened was, Faye and supposed to came in, the captain was going to pay them, the Faye was going to pay them, and then she came in and said, Scott them told her to sign the papers, you down, still going to be paying through the commission. Then I got a notice from Faye saying I was supposed to come to this meeting and answer these questions.
So I'm just trying to figure out who sent you to the meeting. I'm trying to get to the bottom of it because, you know, this thing, I understand we got a problem. and I understand your problem. And I do feel like we should went through the commission and did this. But what I am, everywhere I go on the street, everybody says it's the county file, it's the county. I can't see how somebody keeps sending you to the county and we are under in a local agreement and we all should be sitting down at the table trying to figure out this problem because honestly, the county alone can't solve your problem under interlocal agreement. Even not saying that, and I understand your point, but to work it out properly, the city and the county definitely need to sit down with your reg board if it's gonna be worked out. But what I'm saying, when they keep sending you to the county board, it's nothing that the county can tell him, am I correct? What can we tell him to do that the city is going, we can't speak for the city, but we need to sit back down at the table or either I think you have the rec commission, we have people on that. I think everybody needs to sit down at the table on your rec commission and come up with how everything works and what y'all propose, and then give a proposal back to the city and the county board so we can see where we can meet you at.
I think the reason they keep sending it to you because I'm appointed through the county. And, so
well,
I guess that's why they keep sending it to you.
I received the letter, I turned it over to Scott, I think I received it from Alicia Shepherd, and I turned it over to Scott this morning. But the hours, and I talked to Scott about it when I got the letter, the hours and everything, as Scott said, has to come through the rec board. We don't set the hours, all we did was set a budget, and everything else should fall through the rec. I mean, you all should determine how they're gonna work in the summer, how they're gonna work in the winter. And I understand once they work in the summer, if they work so many hours that in the winter time, they can get some comp time for the hours that they have worked the summer.
Yeah, I'm not trying to throw it, this was thrown upon me, so, and I've been counting business, so when it hit me in the lap, I had to come here and try to get some answers, just.
Right, cause she did, Alicia called, well, she didn't call me, she sent a letter. Quebec called me up here and asked me to come get a letter that she has sent. So when I read it, I turned it over to Scott.
So she's not a county employee?
They're not county employees,
Okay.
No, they're not. So.
And I didn't give any direction to anyone other than if that's your structure, that you're giving people comp time, it just has to balance out. That's all, the only instruction I said. Legally, that's the way it has to be.
We hadn't had that problem, so this is new to me. I'm not trying to.
And then I said that you need to keep both city and county, communicate that to the city and county so y'all aren't caught unaware when someone on the street says, well, they don't show up for work but 4 hours during the winter time. That's all I said was to communicate. I don't know why there's, confusion.
Yeah, and see, that's what my question is, because, and I did, and, we are elected officials and we are public officials, so, you belong to the public. But one thing I am, because I hear it all the time, and I'm definitely not one to pay attention to everything what people say, but sometimes things can affect you when you're elected official. And I'm just really sick and tired of everywhere I go, everybody saying the county did this, the county did this. I heard a fella say, well, the county, and you came here today and you say, well, we want to get it straight. But in all actuality, your reg board, the county and the city need to sit down and get it straight. You're a appointee for the county, but the county don't make the last decision on that. We sit down as a 3-people board, the county, city, and your reg board, we make decisions. That's why I was trying to figure out who told you to come here to answer questions, because basically what I'm trying to do is we trying to solve the problem, and the communication gonna be the key to anything. If once we get on the line with your board, the city and the county, and then I think we can come to an agreement. But if you come to the county or you go to the city, we still gonna be in the same boat.
Well, I am not trying to throw a wrinkle in there, but right now I don't even know who the board is.
What board?
I know
The rec board?
I know who's appointed from the county. I have no idea who's appointed from the city now. They haven't reached out to me. They haven't sent me any.
They hadn't appointed them because we had a joint meeting.
They appointed.
Where they said they were gonna appoint them.
Yeah, they appointed them.
3 new people.
What you probably need to do is get with the city and see who their appointees are, because one alderwoman asked me when was the next recreation board meeting. And I told them I did not know they needed to get with you because they needed to let you know who their appointees were so that you all could sit down and have a meeting with them.
It's the first Tuesday of every month at 5:30.
So that's something they need to get with you about. 'Cause-
Can I ask
Yeah.
something? Mr. Ware, just for clarity, the pool's closed right now?
Right.
All right. So how much time is somebody actually spending out there? Like an hour a day, maybe?
Look.
I'm just for
I'm
clarity.
be honest as can be. I've been going through that late in the afternoon looking, checking out things, but right now I've been with your head down and butt up. I've been rolling, so I really last.
Well, what my point is, are we paying somebody 20 hours a week now, or are they just getting, they're turning in an hour a day or 2 hours a day, only working 5 or 10 hours a
I
week?
think the way is, like, Faye called me just about every day. Faye, Alicia come in from 10 to 2, and Faye come in from 2 to whatever time, 5 or 6. Now, what they got going on, I really hadn't had my thumbs on because I've been so busy.
So that's 10 hours a week for
Right.
the part-time employees. It's getting paid 20 or
20 hours a week. As I was saying.
y'all see where I'm going with this? There's a lot of time. It's gonna be for 6 months like that.
Well, let me help you out. We just left a conference in Oxford, and four of us was there. And the state auditor made it plain and clear. You're gonna have to keep up with your time. Everybody gotta keep up with their time. If you don't keep up with your time and you pay somebody that's supposed to be at work and not at work, then we are gonna be held responsible. Is that not plain and clear how they made it?
That's how they made it.
They had to make it. So we need a check and balance system where somebody got to be able to document people's time in this whole entire county.
And to elaborate what you're saying, federal law is, it's our responsibility as an employer, whoever the employer is, for our county employees, our responsibility. You can't pass it to an employee. It's our responsibility to keep up with time. It is the commission's responsibility as an employer to keep up with that time. They can't then blame the employee if their time isn't right. Federal law is employers' buck stops there. You gotta make sure it's accurate. I'm not disagreeing, I'm elaborating what you're saying.
Okay, I'm saying, they told us straight like this. At the end of the day, they ain't coming for the commission. They ain't coming for you. Guess who they coming for? The elected officials.
We didn't have this problem until this came out, so this is new to us. So all I came here was just giving direction, margin direction. You give me margin direction and we'll work it out. But the problem is, I'm just telling you what the problem is. We headed to it. We haven't had a problem in the past, but now we got this coming up. So we need to sit down and work it out. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean,
The commissioners should.
the commissioners decide when to work or whatever.
Well, that's what
Framing the marching
we
orders.
actually set up pool hours, time hours, the way we
Right.
work. We also go through every lifeguard that we keep up with their time. We make sure, because at one time we couldn't work them overtime because we didn't want to pay them. We had Lisa, who was our attorney, to go through it and figure out how many hours we could work them a week. We did everything we could. We documented it and kept up with it. Faye would write it out and I would sign time sheets.
And the marching orders are keep within the budget, make sure people are paid for the hours that they work and not more or less than what they work. And I think that's the marching orders. And that's as much as they're gonna get. How you do that is up to the commission,
All right, I think that's all.
Thank you, Brad.
While we on this subject, we're gonna have to appoint a new commissioner. Because one of our commissioners, I'm gonna tell him we need to put it in writing, said that he did not want to serve, so we're gonna have to go find some new.
Okay, so everybody keep it in mind who they looking at appointing. And get it to Jimmy so he knows, so he can put together.
Right, because we try to lay out an agenda, we try to get people there because we have to, at one time, so, I guess we have another question.
Supervisor Gray, have that.
We had slides in Senate and we always did our docket through them, so now we're gonna have to run a docket and we run it back through the county, how we do that.
Yeah, y'all make sure the time that they're submitted, wherever your policy is in place, accurately records how much time they're doing. And then they'll be processed through payroll and then we'll bill the city for their half. It's gotta be accurate.
Thank you, Square.
Thank you. Okay, while we on this, I'm gonna go ahead and get this approved. This is for, Miss Alicia Shepherd with the recreation. Her annual salary will be $12,480 at $12 an hour. Can I get a motion?
Is this part-time employee?
Part-time.
This is a pay in lieu of claim.
Payable, yes.
So moved.
Got a
Second.
motion by Supervisor Gray, second by Supervisor Wilson. Any discussion?
The only discussion I have, we need to make sure that, I think, I'm not sure, but I think that's what we agreed to in that meeting over there. We need to make sure that the city is on board because they made it plain and clear that they was gonna only pay a certain amount.
That's what's on here.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what's on here. Okay. All in favor, say aye.
All right,
All opposed, nay. Ayes have the motion carried unanimously. Let the record show that Supervisor Gaines stepped out.
It's on
Okay. The next one is, Miss Rebecca Faye Minor with the annual rate of $33,500, hourly rate $16.11. Can I get a motion?
so moved.
Second.
Got a motion by Supervisor Gray, second by Supervisor Wilson. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carried unanimously. Okay,
What was the first young lady name?
the what?
The first young lady you called, what was her name?
Alicia Shepherd. Got it? Okay. All right, next, Miss Annette Fails. Do you have anything?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
First thing I wanna revisit the situation with the vehicle that we requested, that was approved by the board to apply for the grant. It was brought to my attention that it wasn't signed and it was presented at the last meeting,
That's right.
and I'm trying to find out why.
No, I haven't asked. That's on that,
USDA.
definition, yeah.
Refresh my memory, it was a $29,000 grant or something.
I'm not sure exactly how much the grant was for. I just know that we put in the budget at the beginning of the year for them to purchase a vehicle. Let me put this on.
Did we put it in the budget? Was it in
Put
the
in.
budget?
To purchase a vehicle for $26,000.
Okay.
And so I'm thinking when at the last board meeting, a vehicle, I guess they approved for the SUV for $49,000.
Right, which we
So
were gonna have
that's
to
why
pay 19,000.
Yeah, it was a cheaper vehicle than the first one we presented, where the grant pays 35% and the county pays 65%. So it left us paying 19,
Okay, how much was the vehicle for?
30.
Okay,
But the one we presented when we came before was more, so we found it cheaper.
no. We agreed upon a vehicle for $26,000 because we only need a vehicle for you all, you said to travel
Yes,
when they have meetings. You know, because I'm thinking, first of all, I guess the clarification is, and the problem is this. And people, and Francis, you correct me if I'm wrong, as far as Francis over there.
Yes.
The way those vehicles are made and designed, they're not designed, we can purchase a vehicle if it's approved. But as far as the E911 is a call center. It's not a situation where anybody can take this vehicle home or whatever. So it's just gonna sit there until they can go to a training. So, and I'm thinking that's what the miscommunication is that I need a vehicle so we can go to meetings and we can do, it doesn't work that way as far as the purchasing law, am I right?
I'm not, to be honest with you, I'm not sure on that part, but I mean, I can always find out.
Okay.
But another thing that, where I wasn't sure about because I've never purchased in this type of situation was the way, the formality of the paperwork. And Lynette was saying that, you know, different parts of it needed to be, you know, approved and everything and signed off on. So that's, I just been waiting to get that, you know, go ahead from you all. And, she asked for the price, and I gave her, we gave her the pricing of it and a breakdown of the state contract, and every paperwork such where she could see what the price of the vehicle was, so she could also go back behind our calculations to make sure of how much you all would be looking at paying for the vehicle.
We were looking for the vehicle to be purchased for $26,000. And I'm thinking that's where the miscommunication is that when they presented a vehicle, which last board meeting was $49,000.
So that so in other words, 65% of that should be not the 49, but it should be of the lesser amount
Of the purchase.
I think it was like 19,000 and something.
Excuse me,
I don't even know.
I know I forget a lot, but I thought I heard someone mention or even question why would they even need a vehicle, and I think might have been somebody say they already had a vehicle in E911.
That's correct. That's correct.
Yeah.
That's
Okay,
correct.
That's what I thought I
That's why
heard.
I'm here to revisit that. We don't own a vehicle, we don't have a vehicle, no vehicle assigned to us, we don't have access to the keys to a vehicle. Now, the vehicle he's probably talking about is the one that's assigned to Cannon, that she drives every day, that say house number, Cannon. That says house number that she drives every day, and she has problem putting it in shop on a regular basis. We need a vehicle because we have to have 6 credits, 48 hours, so to get our people recertified. And the classes that we go to, I have a list of it. None of these classes are local. Yeah,
We didn't need that because we don't do local travel anyway.
okay, I'm just trying to show that none of them are locally, they have to travel to go to them, some of them don't have a lot of vehicle. The state reimburses us with 4 people in a vehicle. It reimburses us for the training. Once you get certified, which is a 40-hour course to get certified, you have to continue your education to stay certified. 6 subjects, 48 hours.
That's a week and 4 hours, 2 weeks.
Yeah, and we have,
And
yeah,
4
with all the
hours.
employees that we have.
But that's see, throughout the county, and this is the way it has always worked, because last week, 2 weeks ago, I went to Oxford, Mississippi. We do travel. We have a travel reimbursement. So they're not gonna provide a vehicle for Angie King because she go to trainings 3 and 4 times a year, because we do go, and this is the way it works. And we do have county vehicles that if you need to go to travel to a training, we have vehicles available. But we haven't, each department is not designed to have a vehicle.
Okay, so if you have some available, where can we get them from?
Well, you just said, Brad, speak.
The way it works is the 911 board purchased a vehicle just for that. It's not assigned to Connie because she can't take a home vehicle and stuff like that. You have to understand, when people drive these vehicles, you got to be licensed, you got to be put on insurance. The reason they do that, the class that you're talking about is pretty much yearly class that you can do pretty much online or as ones and twos. If you get a vehicle for that, like I say, that vehicle will be sitting there. If you're using that vehicle day-to-day activities, stuff like that, you can't do that. I'll take the vehicle home because that comes out of my check because of my duty description. I have to be emergency manager. The 911 vehicle that the board purchased is for house number. Connie's job just came aboard probably maybe 5 years ago because we got it in the system. That if Ms. Jones don't go out and do house number or put address in, that vehicle sits there. So if y'all need the vehicle, all you gotta do is say, Brad, we get a vehicle, you can get it. Yeah, they just took it to the coast last time for 911 company. It got to be put on the road. So it ain't no that it's my vehicle, nothing like that. You say, hey, Brad, we need to use vehicle. Guess what? Connie, you got to keep it. One person need to be on the insurance to drive that because you can't have all the dispatchers in the vehicle just taking it out because that's kind of problem. They get out there and get an accident, they not on insurance, the county is liable for that.
Yeah, well, I run a driver's license on every employee I have in there to see if they're valid.
Right. Driving license, what I'm saying is, I understand everybody got a driving license, but what I'm saying is, you don't want to just have, you got 14 dispatchers. If I don't get a class, somebody got to be responsible for the vehicle. That's going to be, hey, look, I'm responsible for these, I ain't going to be accused nobody, nothing like that. But if, like she's saying, if you go to some training, they can get reimbursed, so they can ride with somebody with a good vehicle, because all y'all can't, you don't supposed to claim travel if you ride with somebody. You can't do that, it's against the law. So if that one person driving their personal vehicle, that's the only person that gets travel. You just a passenger in there, so that's what I'm saying. So we do have vehicles. I got Tahoes, if you wanna use that, it's a kind of vehicle, it ain't mine. I give it up.
Well, you got somebody driving each one of your vehicles every single day. And the vehicle you're saying that we can use, I know for a fact, stayed in the shop on how many times. When we sending a bunch of women off to class, we need to send them in something reliable.
I got a Tahoe.
Well, let's use your truck.
You can't use my truck because I'll be on call.
Yeah.
It's not about a new vehicle or nothing like that, but I'm just saying, this ain't no issue. Well, y'all, if the board want to buy a new vehicle, that's y'all.
Wait, hold up.
The problem is this, it's like, it's a miscommunication as to who, somebody who needs to use a vehicle because they are working 24 hours. And the call is completely different. As far as Brad's concerned, he's working 24 hours. He's a vehicle, he can take his vehicle home because he's on call 24 hours, whereas when the call center, you come to work like any other employee and you have a seat at work. We don't have vehicles sitting in any departments.
He also pays taxes on his.
You know, just because, well, this person may have to go to training this week. We reclaim travel. So I'm thinking.
Every other employee gets mileage and, you know.
The problem with that is most of the people that work in 911 make $12 an hour, so they're not gonna have a good, reliable vehicle. So they can't just say, well, you go to Gulfport or Biloxi or whatever, they don't have a car that can go there. So we're either gonna have to rent a vehicle.
No, I mean, we got one in 911.
Well, as she's described, how old is that car you're talking about?
Which one?
The Connie drives?
It's a, I think it's a 2000.
How old is the car that you recommending them to go to the coast in that somebody else is using to go to the coast right as we speak?
I think it's a 2016. Yeah, but she only just used it around the county. They took the vehicle down on the coast. That's the whole intent of it. A vehicle that sits up and don't run will have problems. That's the reason she riding it every day. Well, he's a mechanic, he know. You can't let those new vehicles set up because no parts are, and that's what happened. So we do have reliable vehicles. It ain't the problem. You know what I'm saying? But y'all the board, if y'all want to buy a vehicle, I'm just trying to save you money.
Well, it's not the issue for the vehicle. The issue was, I think, is the purchase amount. That they they approved and applied for a vehicle that they were not supposed to get at 20, it should have been 26,000, not 40-some thousand.
No. Wrong.
Well, it should have been 26,000.
The paper that I was in when I first came to the board, if you can look in the minutes, was $37,000 some $100. But the board was gonna pay 65 and the grant was gonna pay 35. We went back and found they sold that vehicle because we didn't put in an order for it. They sold that vehicle. We got a cheaper one, which is $30,000. I have it right here. It was a $30,000 vehicle where the county paid 65 and the grant pays 35, which our total, the county total was at 19,000 some dollars. The vehicle is $30,387.
Okay, let me correct you. When you came upstairs to me, before the board meeting, you came to me with a vehicle.
Yeah.
For $26,000, okay? So when you came to the board meeting and you brought up the 40-some thousand, I told you then not to apply for a 49,000 vehicle because the discussion that we had upstairs before the board meeting was the vehicle was supposed to be for $26,000. Now, if you went ahead and decided that, oh, I'm gonna get this vehicle for 49 because the county gonna pay 26, that's you did wrong because I made it clear to you.
I gave
that you had to purchase
Did I
this
give
vehicle
y'all a
because
copy at the last meeting? I mean.
No, we met before.
Yeah.
You came to the board. We met before she came to the board meeting. She brought her crew with up there. And that was the discussion, $26,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
26,
so, right.
After
For the purchase of the vehicle. Now, because I'm deciding, oh, the county gonna pay $26,000, I'm gonna go get a vehicle for 49 or 40,000, so they still gonna pay 26. That wasn't agreed upon. You said to me that you had a vehicle that you had found for $26,000. I said I would bring it to the board. Okay, you changed it in between that time, and even after you changed it, I told you you cannot get that vehicle. I made it clear to you about the vehicle, that don't get confused into the fact that you can take this vehicle home. That
I wasn't
you
trying to
said
take the
no,
vehicle
but
home.
you said to me, you said I have to go to different kind of meetings and stuff. I said it doesn't matter. I said you're gonna have to still come to work in your vehicle and get
No,
that
I
car to
never,
go
I
to
never
work.
was under the pressure to take the
Hold
vehicle.
Hold on,
hold
wait a minute.
on,
What we
hold
gonna do, we're not gonna go backwards and
No,
forwards
we
with
ain't
this
finna do
because
that.
we'll be doing this all day. We're not gonna do that.
Okay.
The board needs to decide whether we're gonna purchase a vehicle or not, or we're going to therefore use a vehicle for E911. Once we decide whether a vehicle is gonna be purchased, then we need to see what the purchase price is gonna be and what is gonna be the difference with, I know Alan came in here with a difference of $19,000.
Yeah.
So we need to decide whether we're gonna purchase a vehicle or let her use one from E911. Cause we'll go backwards and forward with this discussion all day, we're not gonna do this.
You got some.
I just know, I mean, it's clear miscommunication, something like that, and I don't think we should do business like that. I really don't think we are professional people sitting on a professional setting on TV. We shouldn't be doing business like that, you know. And I feel like we should just get down to whatever we need to do. And I think if it's clearly a miscommunication. So I agree with the president that that we'll get in if it's a need for the vehicle. I feel like we need to purchase the vehicle. If we need to purchase the vehicle, then y'all just need to simply get together with a price on the vehicle. And let's just do the business and go. If that be the direction that the board gonna take, then I think we should do that and kind of move on. And I, you know, I'm a person that I don't run a department. We the board. But at the head of the department, I rely on y'all to run your own department and take recommendations from anywhere. And as a board, we bring them back and we decide maybe if we can do them, and if some things we can do and some we can't. So I'm not saying if we are not, but as a board, we need to discuss it. But I really would appreciate if when we do business, we all just communicate straight up and do strictly business and do it in a professional way, especially we're in a setting like this.
I agree, and,
Hold on a second.
I feel
Hold on,
like,
Ms. Bales, hold on.
Let me say this, the easiest way to alleviate this is this. And I don't know what kind of vehicles they have in E911, but if he say they have a vehicle that's capable of going wherever you need to go, then y'all need to get that vehicle and drive that vehicle wherever you need to go. And if that vehicle is not capable of doing or going where you need to go, then you need to come out and get a new vehicle. But if we already have one that's capable of doing what you need, then we don't need to buy a new vehicle. But if that vehicle can't make it to Oxford or the coast or wherever, because I don't want to see you on the highway in something that's gonna break down. Not only is your life in danger, but that makes us look bad, because we sending you out there in a vehicle that's not capable. So whatever vehicle he's talking about, we need to get it inspected and make sure that the vehicle can do whatever. So if something wrong with it, once we get it inspected, let's get it moving.
Well, I want to say this. I want to also say this because I'm looking at this other part too. The vehicle is somebody else is using it at the same time. Make sure that we don't have scheduling conflicts or whatever. I agree totally with what you said. Need to look at it, but you also, if you got 2 or 3 people using it, make sure that it's not gonna be a scheduling conflict if somebody gone and somebody need it. So, you know, it's not a real hard thing to work out if we just put all the details on the table. I totally agree with what you say, but I also heard in the background, if I'm correct, Mr. Bradford, that you said somebody else is already driving the vehicle?
The way it works, Connie, she just goes out, put the Latin on the house. That's not all you gotta do, she don't have to do that every day. Because when it's raining, she don't go out. What I'm saying is, if they have to go somewhere, they can say, Brad, we need this vehicle. You kind of work out the office. That's just how it is. So it's not, her job is still can be done in the office too.
I'm just trying to, what I'm doing is trying to figure out how we can make everything work for everybody. Because all our departments is important. It's important that our department, and E911 is definitely one of the most important because it's everybody's life in here. From my family to their family, everybody else. So I just want to make sure that we can all get together and work everything out. So emergency management get what they need and be supplied, and E911 get what they need and be supplied. I yield the floor now.
And it's no problem. I guess the problem, on my end, is not the problem of them getting a vehicle. The problem is the purchase price that was agreed upon.
We understand.
Supervisor Wilson.
Okay. Scott, correct me if I'm wrong. We do have a partner in this, in the E91.
Yeah, the joint
Okay.
endeavor.
Exactly. So the city should be involved some. Are we gonna have a meeting soon about an interlocal agreement concerning E911 so we can get some of these things hammered out?
I think we can definitely do that. What would be productive is if we could get a copy of the budget set for E911. That way we know what 50% would be, what a true partnership would be. That would be helpful.
And they can have a voice in this.
I think I
They
said
have
in the
vehicles.
last meeting that they should share the cost. If we're gonna get this, that they should share the cost.
I do have concern about them going out in a vehicle that Brad has said he's been in the shop and they had said the same thing. And we don't need to send them off in a vehicle they can't count, especially it's obviously going to be 3 or 4 women every time and not, yes, that's all I had.
One thing you learn about me, I make sure I won't send nobody out of town when I wouldn't drive. And I bet my life on it. I would not put a woman behind a vehicle knowing they're gonna break down. You can look at my maintenance report on all my vehicles. I make sure they all change regularly. I make sure tires are checked and inspected. They just took this vehicle to the coast. We just had $3,000 worth of work done to this vehicle because of it setting up. I got other newer vehicles. The vehicles ain't the problem. Well, the problem is you're gonna buy another 911 vehicle you already have one. If you're gonna do that, just trade the one in on a newer vehicle where it can be used all the time. That's the best thing to do because guess what? When you buy the vehicle, you gotta have gas cards. Now you're gonna have 2 budgets where the gas is coming out of and people use it. That's what I'm saying. You gotta think wise and I understand everybody want a vehicle. I understand that. But if you're gonna do it, just trade that vehicle in, get a new one. Where you got that's not an EMA vehicle, that's a 911 vehicle. That money was bought with 911 money. The gas card in 911. It just rolls up under me because that's where it always been. So the best thing to do if we want to do that, let's just trade this older vehicle and get a new one. Everybody can use it. It's not mine. It's not assigned to me.
Well, I'm gonna say this, and I'll say this much about this. I think that's a great suggestion. But you know how I am, and everybody know me, know I'm just straightforward what I do. I don't have a problem with that. But what's gonna have to happen, if that's gonna be the case, E911 director and emergency management director, y'all gonna have to have a clear understanding on what's gonna happen, and everybody got to be treated fair and work fair with that if that's gonna be the case. I'm not saying that's the case, Ms. Fair, but I'm just saying if that be the case, because we just said we're gonna go back and deal with the city because that's also on an interlocal agreement, see what they said. But clearly, I just want, if you get them under emergency management, you and Ms. Fair need to have a working relationship that we can make it work for everybody. You got me what I'm saying?
All she got to do is ask.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna move on to you, so I won't say anything more to that.
Okay. You have anything else to say?
Yeah, we wanna talk about the pay, the salary.
Okay.
And I know it's gonna come up, the question will come up next about the turnover rate. Well, we had interviews, when it was last week or 2 weeks ago, y'all was having interviews. Okay, we had 2 people that was excited about the job. Once we brought them down, to show them where they're gonna be working and everything, we gave them their paperwork to fill out. We haven't seen or heard from him anymore. Our senior dispatcher that's been there for a while, they're seeking other jobs as well because they're upset about the pay, because we got people coming off the street with no certification, no experience coming in, they'll make the same amount of money they make. So we had this discussion before, and I was instructed to go to the city and talk to the city about it, which I was told I'm not allowed to go to the city. So.
I mean, I asked you who said that, but.
Why would you need to go to the city?
Well, when I was on the last meeting they had on Zoom, and I brought it to their attention with the chart that I presented to everybody, President Hutchins told me I need to get with the city, the alderman, the city, and ask them about their dollar raise, because you all was not able to get.
I think I said recommend to your board, your advisory board, and let them get with the city.
I've done with them already.
You what?
I talked to them already, and they were saying that we can't go to the city because
They told you that, yeah. And I told you to get with your advisory board because the city has a part in this too. And I think we mentioned that in this meeting one time that maybe the city needs to help pay for this. Well, we're gonna talk with them, I guess, with this interlocal agreement. So we'll find out as with the pay plus the car, how much they'll put in.
Now, I think we need to make that a priority, try to get the city.
Yeah.
There's also discussion.
They need a building, that they
That
need,
building, everything.
they need a lot.
Discussion about that, what that cost is gonna be, all that needs to be,
And Bob,
that be ducks in a row.
right,
Yeah, exactly.
So we're gonna make it a priority, try to get with the city.
cause we're paying this ourselves, so we need to speak with the city too.
And get y'all situated, cause I don't like the building you're in, I don't like what y'all are going through. I understand why people aren't showing up, coming back to their job after they see that place they all working out of. It's great, actually.
Yeah, dispatch is a very sensitive, critical department. And I don't know if people realize that or not. You don't have dispatch the whole city on
We do.
control. And I'm doing everything I possibly can to make it comfortable for these people coming to work. If they're not happy, you're not gonna get enough production in there to keep people safe. So all I can do is present it to the board.
I understand what you're saying with the rate of pay, cause I think we had some discussion with that, with the same discussion for us, the road department, and the difference in the, pay, when you're bringing somebody on, making the same thing as another person. And because we raised the amount. So I understand where you're going with that, when they get here and another person coming on making that same amount. But I'm gonna say this too, I think in the sheriff department, and correct me if I'm right or wrong, okay? In the sheriff department, when a deputy come on, they gonna make that same rate as the other deputy. Am I correct?
Not
That we're not.
We've changed that.
You changed that, so we need to make some changes here. But that used to be, am I correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so y'all made that change. So we need to do the same here.
Angie said it wasn't gonna be perfect right out the gate, and it would take a while to work through it, and that's what we're saying, everybody's still doing.
The deputy's starting pay is the same as it was from the beginning, because they just hired somebody, you should have a sheet.
Yeah, I
And
do.
their starting salary is the same.
As someone else,
As
as another deputy.
the original. So the other deputies who was making that rate of pay at first got the raise. They got a 5%. But everybody coming in as that same
But of that
prior
See, I
to.
thought that was
Yeah.
like that. Yeah, that it is like that.
We gotta work within our budget constraints.
Well, he go the thing. I may be wrong, but if you come in as a deputy and just a deputy, and you've been here 3 years just as a deputy, and they don't move you to another position and the county don't get you no raise, you still gonna be making 1601.
No, they make more than that, they got a raise.
Okay,
Yeah.
But a
I'm
new
talking
person,
about the beginning, what you come in as a deputy, ain't it on there?
1601.
What I'm saying is, right now, if you hire somebody for 1601, right now,
Right.
3 years later, if we don't get no across the board raise, that, and if they don't bump them up to something else, they still gonna be making 1601.
Correct.
So when another individual come in 3 years later, they gonna be making 1601.
Right, that's right. But all the other ones who was making 1601 is now making 1681.
They got a 5% raise.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's only the new ones
That'll
that's
make
gonna
it
be making
1601.
1601. But everybody else making 1681. So they're coming in making less than the other employees.
And so that's what she's trying to say. Now, her, emergency management, her
No,
telecommunication,
they're making more than
the $12.
The other ones, the ones who's already been there is making more. But I think her question is, she wanted them to make $2.
He has something he wants.
Go ahead.
I'm actually, I've been there for a while and I'm still at the $12 mark.
That's because the fact is, when he came in, he was not making $12, right?
Correct.
So when we made that adjustment, he went to $12, and that was it.
So he's making more than $12.
No, he wasn't.
You making exactly $12 now.
Exactly. Yes.
And so how long you been here, been there?
I've been doing the job 2 years plus.
Okay, you left and then you came back. You left and you came back.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Madam President, I want, and I know it won't take Angie 10 seconds to print me the budget of 911. I'm saying me, not because of me, I just want to get that number so I go take to the city. And if she wants to try to have a proposed salary, new pay structure or whatever, have that as well. And we can look at what the increase will be so we can have an intelligent conversation with the city, about how much money we're asking for. And it'll spell out the pay grades that you're trying to get done. And we can go approach the other partner on this and see if we can, and same thing with the new building and so forth.
We need to
Car, all those things, and see if we can get,
How many long-term employees you have there?
We didn't know the city has a building.
That's been there or at least a year. How many employees that you have now that's been there at least a year?
Lakota,
Yeah, probably, man, just figure out that number.
about 5.
About 5. So it's not that much of a difference, it's just 5. The turnover is
Yeah.
turning over. So
that might create more,
That's why I
incentive to stay on. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
it's only 5.
It may be some question about the turnover.
Let me ask you a question. Now, in the past, when somebody got hired down there, they started off at $10, right?
That's correct.
So now they're gonna start off at $12, right?
That's correct.
Okay, then you got from step 1 to step 2, it look like they're gonna get $1, right?
Yes, when they get certified, they go up to $1.
Okay, then from step 2 to step 3, look like they're gonna get another $1, right?
Yeah.
And then this is the same thing we asked the sheriff department to do. Give us a something like this, because now that $12 gonna come in to $13 and then $14 and then $15 from the sheet I'm looking at.
That's correct.
So, me personally, I always felt, I really didn't understand how somebody could pay somebody $10 an hour to be a dispatcher. I mean, even when I was with the city, I thought that was ridiculous for somebody to have a stressed out job making $10 an hour. That's crazy. They need to start out with $13 an hour. That's just me saying that, because I don't know if we can take this American Rescue money and do whatever we need to do to get them where they need to be, and maybe they can keep some people down there. Not down there, somewhere else, because I know they don't need to be down there either. But I'm a firm believer that you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
If you don't pay nobody, it's ridiculous. That's all I gotta say. We need to do better.
That's something we'll look into. We're gonna get with the city, like you say, with the.
I'm asking an advisory board partner, Madam President,
Yes.
to get us get
we have
everybody
advisory
a
board
recommendation
here.
for us. So I'll get with Tim, and, because I think he's still chairman, if I'm not mistaken, I'll get
I'm trying to give it up though, somebody else wants it.
No one will take it. You're stuck with it. But we'll try to get some directions as an ask. We'll have an actual, and then we'll have an intelligent discussion with the city about what we need.
But before we go, could I ask a question?
Yes, you can.
Okay, I was wondering, because when we're working down there and we're working for the sheriff department, they have grants going on, so we're already understaffed. Is it legal for us to get an additional workload and not be compensated for that?
I mean, you're compensated at an hourly rate set by your employer. No matter if you work and you're paid per hour for all the time that you're there.
Okay, so
if you're
even if
working
you get an
more
increased
than that time that you're
workload,
scheduling, then you get more money. But from this time to this time, you get paid this amount per hour.
even if the workload increases.
It doesn't matter what you say, because you're paid per an hour basis. Not a workload basis.
Let me try to help us. Okay, if I get hired as a dispatcher and on the job application, it say my responsibilities are X, Y, Z. I think what he's trying to say now, if you give me some additional responsibilities to the responsibilities that I got hired from, do I get compensated for?
I think a good employer tries to compensate you appropriately
That's what he's asking.
versus legally. Legally, you're set at a rate versus what a good employer does.
What he's
Different.
talking about, every year, the police department, sheriff department, they have grants where they go out and do checkpoints. They usually include us in the grants, because I have to bring extra people in to help with the traffic. This year we was not included, so he is saying it's more work on him with less help.
Why would understand?
He's trying to see about compensation with that, but that comes from a grant.
I mean, I think the board is on. They want to look at getting y'all compensated better, getting that uprated and so forth. They also want to make sure that everyone's paying their fair share. I think that's where they're at. So, I mean, if everyone should get more money, I think that's just, and this board really pulled up their sleeves to get everyone a significant raise. It may not have felt like that, but it was a significant raise to get that done. And it took people coming together as a team, doing grants to help offset our costs, looking at our expenses, not spending all your budget. I know some departments tried to not spend all their budget, took things like that so that we could be in a position to give raises and so forth. Buying this car is going to take away from the overall amount of money that we had to do everything, which would include giving people raises and paying people more money. And it may be that we have to do that. If it's necessary for the job, then we got to do it. We shouldn't qualm about it. At the same time, we got to worry about our expenses. We're not just flush with cash. We only have so much in the well. So, I mean, that's why we're going to try to get advisory board with Ms. Fells is going to tell us this is what the proposed salary would be, and this is what our actual one is. We'd also like to move the building, so you have a better building. We'd like to have a car, so you'll have to travel. What is all this going to cost? And then we can go talk to the city and say, this is what they need to be successful, and see if we can get a fair deal back.
Okay. I see the chief is here, and you probably came over for this reason. Did you come over for this reason?
Yes, ma'am, I was invited this week.
Okay. All right. Is anything you would like to say in regards to this?
I
think
yield the floor
after
to my
listening
chair.
to this, I think what needs to happen is when y'all meet with the city, Scott, you could let the advisory board know so that we can be there to try to answer some of the questions to either, and kind of add to the understanding of why we're making a request for something or why we don't. Just because by far and large, just talking to the board members, we've seen Ms. King's provided us copies of the budget, but we still have questions related to how much money is coming in. That's the state money that's coming in, to where it's going, to what it's allotted to. We still have some questions ourselves, and it's just like Supervisor Gaines pointed out. If we don't understand ourselves, it leaves us with a question mark, and we don't really know how to move forward ourselves. So if we could be included in that meeting, I think that would probably be the next best step to where we can cut some of this stuff out and better serve as an advisory board in our capacity.
But when we did meet that time, I think you were up there. I gave you everything that was asked for.
Oh yeah, you've given us
Everything.
a copy of the budget. I know that.
And
That's what I'm
everything that
saying.
was requested.
There's just still components that the board has questions on. In fact, we were actually gonna try to send out an email and request a meeting with, the board, between the board and this board, just so that we could ask those questions. We're literally sitting in meetings, kind of going roundy round with not knowing some of the answers ourselves. So I think if the city and the county are planning to meet, then if we could be with part of that meeting, we can, that's a good format for us to ask the questions,
Well, I brought this up in every meeting, the last probably 8 or 10 meetings. I think Scott's probably tired of me talking about the 911, but it is important that we get this worked out. I actually mentioned to the mayor, I had supper with him Friday night, that we have got to do something with this. I know he can't speak for the board of aldermen, but, and I wasn't speaking for the board of supervisors, but it just in context, we have got to take care of this group of people. So, I hope we make that a priority.
And Supervisor Wilson, excuse me, just to elaborate on, I have spoken with members of the board, and they have the same philosophy as this board has as far as wanting to take care of them. And I think it's just going to take us getting together, sitting down at the table and coming to an understanding. They understand the needs and the concerns of what's going on over there because I keep them informed, and myself as well as Chief Arrington. And I think it's just that round table that we can sit down and everybody come to the table. I'm sorry, Supervisor, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's you kind of hit the nail on the head, but I was gonna talk to Tim. You are the president of the advisory board.
The chairman.
Chairman, listen, but
Y'all won't take another vote. I'll put
I got you, but no, basically what I was gonna say, I mean, one of the things that we talk about communication, you hear me talk about communication all the time. Here it is again, that another situation, same thing. I hear you say the county board, but when I was just gonna ask you, when you please send your invitation, don't just send it to the county. Send it to the county in the city, because we have anytime we have an interlocal agreement, and with 3 parties, I always said all 3 parties need to be at the table. It doesn't, you cause more confusion and more discussion, because I know this. You can go have a meeting with the city right now. I sat at this table with these folks almost 2 years. I know the city can't tell the county what to do. I know the county can't tell the city what to do. So as us is sitting in a professional capacity of all these things, I would really appreciate it has to come from Scott, and we set up a meeting for us that anything we do, all of our parties be at the table, and it'll make things go a lot smoother. And I think that's the easiest thing, because I heard the chief say that some of the city people have the same concerns as we do. Y'all have the same concerns, so why can't we just be adults and sit at the same table and make a decision to move forward?
Well, I think we're gonna default to y'all's meeting. That's why I even said that. If y'all are gonna work to get a meeting, a joint meeting, then we're asking to be part of that meeting instead of scheduling another meeting, because God knows we're all having enough meetings.
All right.
So if y'all are gonna work to schedule that meeting, then, the board will make it an effort, make it a point to be there as a resource for both the city and the county to answer some of the questions they may have, but then also to get better understanding ourselves.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Attorney, maybe you need to, all these companies we go to, E911 is right there in the discussion, and it's a whole lot of money that the legislature or whoever don't know what they're gonna do with dealing with E911. And that probably could alleviate a whole lot of these problems we talking about now, once they figure out how they gonna get that money out. We need to know that, because if they got all that money and we don't get our fair shake, then we gonna still be doing the same thing we doing right now. They got so much money with E911 and trying to figure out how they gonna do it. Maybe we need to make some calls to our representatives and senators and find out where they are on that, and maybe that'll help us out.
Yeah, and again, I think that's a great idea. If there's extra money out there, again, we still need our we need to know how much to tell our guys, we need this amount of money to be a successful 911. And so we need to get that answer in. How much are we asking for? Get that in. And I totally agree with that. But that's, as you know, that's the first question. How much do y'all need? We need to, can't just be we want as much as possible. We gotta have that precise.
It's an amount that each county
Supposed to get.
gonna get.
Okay.
But we just need to make sure we get our fair amount, cause you know how it is on the state level, man. They'll pinch and give you this little bit and take that money and do something else with it. We just need, look what we dealing with right now with these 911. And they got all that money up there.
And if you're not on the dinner table,
If you ain't at the table, you on the menu. If you on the menu, you gonna get ate up. So we ain't trying to get ate up.
Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank y'all.
All right.
Okay, next, Mr. Stewart.
Good morning, board.
Good morning.
Got one request here from T-Mobile. They request to put, for a permit to place additional equipment on an SBA Communications Corporation tower site located at 597 Old Highway 84, number 3. The project will include the placement of 6 antennas, 6 remote radio units, and 1 25 kilowatt generator, and the associated equipment with that. The placement of this additional equipment will improve T-Mobile service along Highway 84 and portions of northeast Adams County. Ordinance requirements have been met and fees have been paid. I request the board to approve this T-Mobile permit application, please.
We heard the request.
So moved.
Got a motion by Supervisor Wilson. Second by Supervisor Gaines. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed nay. The ayes have it. Motion carried unanimously.
Okay.
You have anything else?
I'll wait until y'all have.
That's it.
I got your paperwork ready for you, Mrs. I got your paperwork ready.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. Callen, you have anything?
No,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay. Mr. Brett? The emergency man, Joy Housing said.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Let's see, first thing I have, I've got some pay applications for some of the EWP projects. The first would be, the Group 1 EWP projects. I've got a pay application for, construction in the amount of $55,830.37. On this project, this is the one that includes Johnson Circle, site on Cemetery Road and the site on Pine View. They have completed Johnson Circle. They are about 75 to 80% through with Pine View, and then they've started on Cemetery Road.
Has anybody reviewed those sites? I'll say the sites.
Madam President, when would Rhonda do that?
he's gone this week, if I'm not mistaken.
It's kind of law for me. I can make a motion pending, the road manager, make sure that everything is in order. I can do that.
Yeah, let me check my email. I think there's an email up there.
And after this, I need to more pictures of the sites.
Nah, we need our road manager, like he always does, he go out and check everything that he needs to check.
Okay.
Yeah, when he give us the thumbs up, then we rely on him to do just that. If he's not here to give us the thumb up, then we really like voting in the blind because we don't have the update from him.
Supervisor Gray, there is the Midway Construction did 7, 8, 9. I had an email from Meg saying Robbie is approved at 7, 8, and 9. But I told him that that needed to come before Brant for this board's approval.
Yes, this has been one of the payouts. I've got three. This is one of three that I have.
Okay. So if
Let's
we
do-
really approve that one, for sure.
Supervisor Gray, if I could, we could do is approve it, like you said, pending Robbie's approval, because the claim still has to go on the docket.
Right.
So this wouldn't delay us.
Yeah, so we'll come back to the next meeting with the docket. And at that time, Robbie should have a chance to look through them.
Okay. What else payments you have?
I do have the, MLK 7, 8,
You
9.
gonna do them separate, or you wanna do them all? Okay. That's, can I get a motion?
So moved.
Got a motion by Supervisor Gray, second by Supervisor Gaines, and a discussion. You doing? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carries unanimously.
And Brandon, you said 55, 8, 30, 77, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
And that's for Johnson, Pine View, and Cemetery Road.
Yes.
Right.
I think that is Cemetery Road number 13, if I.
Okay, your next one?
The MLK 7, 8, 9 at Eddie Beach. He has completed, construction there. I have an invoice or a payout for, $574,135.04.
That's your business, baby.
Yes, I got an email from Meg.
You inspected it too? Okay, that's good, thank you. Okay, we heard the request, can I get a motion?
So moved.
Got a motion by Supervisor Gaines, second by Supervisor Gray, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carried unanimously. Next.
Have an invoice for the, this is the South EWP projects. It's Main Street or, Franklin. And this invoice is in the amount of $24,570.05.
Okay, that project has not been completed, I thought you just asked for an extension on that project.
This is just where they're at now on the monthly payout.
Monthly payout,
They have, grouting of riprap left and some asphalt work.
Which they're doing this morning.
okay.
Uh,
Yeah, they're there.
They're there this morning, okay.
Okay. You heard the request, can I get a motion? Got a motion by Supervisor Gaines, second by Supervisor Wilson, and a discussion.
So, Madam President, since it's not gonna come out until the next budget, make sure, our road manager check on all this.
I put pending review
Yeah.
in that one.
Okay, thank you.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carried unanimously.
And I'm sure he's doing it every day because it's in his office. So.
You got something?
Are you through? Are you finished?
I do have a couple other.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
With the payouts, I'm through with that.
Okay,
Yes.
I was just, I think I was, and I was just trying to figure out.
Are those payouts too?
Are those the same ones you have right there?
No, these are something that was on the docket here a couple of meetings ago. I was going
Oh, okay.
to see if I can bring them back up.
Okay.
In talking to Paige, there were some, docket items in our JKS's invoices that needed explanation, and I thought we'd answered that, but anyway, on, Majorca Road right away, we had an invoice on that, and that was for us to calculate and draw up the plats and everything and do the right of way for the Majorca Road project. There, that, invoice from us was, $4,910. And I believe, I can't remember if it was 2 meetings or 3 meetings ago that was on the docket. There, Paige said they were still there.
Okay, I'll check on that.
And I have another that was Morgantown Road in the amount of $330, and this was providing information for grant money, or I think, Angie, it was, one Friday, you were trying to turn in a grant application, and that was our time, and getting all that together. And I should get these.
Are those the two you have on? Something different.
I'll check on it, Frank.
Okay. Do we need a motion on that?
No, I think she's gonna check on these.
I think, tell Paige to put it on the docket if it's.
I think it was on the docket. I think there was just some questions on what it was for. It didn't have any explanation.
Okay, then we would need to approve those claims,
That old song that
but we don't have a claim number right from.
Yeah, I can.
Can you get them?
Yeah, I'll text her now.
In the meantime, let's let Angela handle those while she takes.
Two of the invoices from JP is, they came in the mail that I need to approve. But, one is on the, what bill was levy phase 3. I guess is the final payment. For the construction management closeout, and it's for $20,110.
Okay, I think that was the remaining on the CE&I and the closeout.
Do you know if the contractors still got retainage on that one, or if they've been paid for full?
I think we released that retainage in there, but it's, they're under maintenance on establishing the grass and if anything under maintenance.
Yeah, we just had extra money in that fund, that's why we were trying to spend it, make sure.
I mean, it's spend.
Make sure it's not owed. No, we can't spend it, I don't know what we'll do with it. Something at the beginning of the year, we'll figure it out.
So then, okay, let me get a motion for that.
So moved.
Got a motion by Supervisor Wilson, second by Supervisor Gaines, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed nay. The ayes have it, motion carried unanimously.
Okay, the other one is, services from March to September for State Park Road for $26,288.19.
Okay. That would have been CE&I work. That would have been CE&I work, right?
That's
Why that?
During construction on State Park, just our inspection fees, I believe.
And how much is it in?
$26,288.19. From March to September services.
Man. Speaking of State Park Road, I mean, it's almost like working completely stopped over there. What's going on over there?
They've been working on the box culvert. They poured the walls.
Yeah.
And I think they poured the top on that.
When is, I'm just trying to get, I get these calls, you know what I'm saying? I get these calls every day. Somehow, nobody's actually doing any other work. Everything kind of fell or flop on the other side of the fork. But, you know, last time we was out there, they was supposed to be getting to the right grade, laying the ground and stuff. And according to all my residents, work has stopped on that part of the road up there. And it's on a box. So we have, I think we talked with Marlon, he said it's maybe was 200 something days on it, but I know we get a lot of good days. Do you have any idea, or could you find out do they think that process will start back working on that on the road?
They are working there. They're working on the box right now, and then they'll come and that's just their kind of scheduling on that. And we don't see anything really out of the ordinary with that. They had 210 working days in that project, and so there's still a good bit of time left. We do not see them completing that project till sometime in the summer of 22.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, Brent, you was out there with me. You called me to come with you a couple times.
Yes.
And it's just an absolute mess. I mean, we was in a 4-wheel drive truck, and we couldn't get turned around out there. And I'm looking at winter time coming in, and right now, I mean, you know, if it actually had just rained, if we get any kind of moisture out there, you know, you can't even walk out there. So I would just want to make sure that those people on the other end, if any way possible, make sure that they have access, because just like we talking about 911, I mean, we couldn't get in, a fire truck couldn't get in, an ambulance couldn't get in, nothing, even if something happened, a policeman couldn't get in. So I just wanna make sure that those people have, the same problem everybody else got. So if you can check
I
on that,
understand,
I
and yes,
appreciate it.
we'll stay on top of them with that. That will be, and they're just their phasing of everything and their construction schedule. Once they get the box in, they'll probably go back into the road work itself. I know we're laying out, some slope stakes and they're getting dirt work
Okay.
ready.
Back to this invoice. I need a motion.
So moved.
Have a motion by Supervisor Wilson, second by Supervisor Gaines. Any discussion?
How much left?
26,000.
$288.19.
From March to September.
March.
And it was, what was it?
The supervision.
I believe that if it, whatever the,
Inspection.
yeah, I believe that's inspection and it's based off of the, percent complete on that project.
So y'all was the inspector on this job?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's a percentage of the overall contract price, and it's a percentage of how far along the project's got. That's how they're paid.
I got you.
All in favor, say aye. All opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carried unanimously. Okay, that's all you have?
That's all I have.
All right. Do you have anything else for us?
Yes.
Go ahead.
The Meadow Road site.
Yes.
I know it's supposed to be bid out last week. Where we at?
We have not, I'm waiting on the final review in our office to advertise that. Right.
You know, I think we just got an extension on it till December.
Yes.
So, you know what I'm saying? We in November right now.
Yes.
And last answer that we had was what, July should be started.
Yeah.
So we all the way down to November. And I just want to make sure that we get it there, because we applied for did an extension until December, because in July we said that it should be started work by July, end of July. Well, it's not even bid out yet, and we still all the way down. It's November 1st. So if we don't,
we did the group 2. And then we're rebidding that, and we had to go back in and change the design and kind of, break the design down and, take out a few items to get it within the NRCS money there. And we did the same thing before bidding number 3 out. We went ahead and removed the same items that they were talking about in group 2. And so we changed that up, and I'm just waiting on them to, finalize it in the office. So
and I'll ask with it, please, because that is actually going Washington to that homeowners, close to that homeowners house right there.
Yes.
And I'll probably get a call from them once or twice a week, sometimes 3 times. And I would really appreciate if they would put priority on final inspecting and getting this submitted.
I need the legal list for group 3.
Okay. All right.
I hear the phone now.
Anything else? That's all. Okay, thank you. Mr. Tim Holton.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Good morning, board. So, I'm not sure if y'all read the article in the newspaper, but I want to put y'all on the rest. We are struggling statewide and nationwide on EMS and staffing, but as you can see from the report, we're still hitting our expectations within the county. That struggle just gets passed on to me. Basically, it's for me to panic about. So if y'all don't get panicked, I'll tell you it's time to panic, and now's not the time to panic. Numbers for the month: 307 requests for service, 198 transports. Now out of that, we had 13 canceled prior to arrival. Just to give you an idea, we're 736 in the city on priority 1s and 923 on the priority 2s. We're 89% reliability. In the county, we're 1355 at 87 and 1725 on the priority 2s. We did pick up with some of the stuff that we're doing, some little things I track, especially as we get into seasonal stuff. Like right now, we're starting to see people with the backyard fire pits. So we did note that we had an increase in burns. Usually we see about one a month. We saw 4 last month. and we've already seen one today. All right, so that's just day one of the month, and we've already picked up on one. So, get the word out and be careful with your fire pits. Obviously, don't use open gas trying to start that thing. Use some charcoal lighter or something, but staying well back from it because we are seeing an increase of these, which is typical for this time of year, but it's a little bit quicker than we normally see it. So just kind of let everybody know, watch that. We have hired 3 new employees. They'll be starting orientation next week. Now, obviously, kind of like everything else, you have to hire them, start the training, and it takes years for them to get to be a paramedic level. That's where the national shortage is that everybody's screaming about, and state shortage is the paramedics. We continue to work with the school locally on the paramedic program, and it just takes time to get those people through there, get them graduated, get them licensed, and get them on the trucks. The number of site calls, I wanted to call this out. We cut it. They cut by 50% in October. Now that's a normal thing too. We kind of see that taper off as cooler weather gets here. The higher the temp, the hotter the temperature of people, so the more they act kind of crazy. But when it gets cooler, those drop down. And I wanted to once again say, like I've said every meeting, as a reference to the site calls, the police department and the sheriff's department has been very good at working these site calls in line and in sync with us, where they're going in, getting that scene cleared out, calling back 911s, informing the crew, hey, you have to stage or don't stage, come on in, we're already on scene, we've got it level. We've had 0 assaults this year, and I'm hoping that carries all the way through December 31st, because that's a huge win for us, and I appreciate the work that them and the police department are putting out. That's pretty much all I had. Y'all have any questions for me?
Have any questions?
Yes, ma'am.
I just have one thing, and it's probably pertaining to you and Brad also, because I know you're familiar with the EMO,
EF
grant.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we're about to get some more funds, and you and Brad had spoken about, emergency vehicles.
The Sprinter.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
so I guess it's probably time, because we don't use the money, we
Well,
lose the money.
We surrender.
So
We need to spend that money
now,
before we, yes. And I think Brad had requested the vehicle, but at the time, there's not something on the state grant that matches what we're looking for. I don't know, I need to circle back up with Brad, and he and I'll call you, because we also have a meeting that's coming up that we have to attend in order to get it, a web meeting.
we don't wanna just have to send something back, we
No.
have the money.
Yeah, and the purpose of the Sprinter, just so y'all know, is I know y'all see our Sprint trucks going out and about. Y'all see the big truck that I drive and a couple of the other, the Tahoe and stuff like that. Well, this vehicle will fit that bill. It's basically replacing that Tahoe that right now is starting to cause us some service issues. So we're going to replace it, and it'll obviously have the logo on it that says "Purchased by the citizens of the state of Mississippi." But it follows. It's a county property item. But then we're responsible for all the licensure, the certification, the insurance, every bit of it. That's just part of that grant stuff. So it'll be logoed and identified as something that was purchased through grant dollars from the citizens of the state of Mississippi, and then it'll be utilized in the city to sprint these calls with a paramedic to where they're actually able to get to these calls in advance of an ambulance.
So it will be okay, because I had to fill out the paperwork by November 12th to say that that's what you're saying.
Oh, yes, ma'am. That's absolutely what we want to do. Thank you.
Okay, thank you,
Thanks, Steve.
appreciate it. Mr. Darrell Smith.
Good morning.
Good morning.
As you know, about a week or two ago, we had some issues about someone burning out in the county. So, let's see what we can do about that, because I know we don't have an ordinance out in the county about controlled burning or people burning out in the county. The only thing I can do with that situation is we can get them to call in. We want them to call in, let us know it's a controlled burn. That way, fire department, volunteer won't have to come out. And with it being a controlled burn, I mean, they have to be in attendance watching it, or if not, they had to cut a line around it to keep it from spreading to other areas. So that's something that we, the board, I know, talked about before, about is there any kind of way that we can have something in place to deal with these burning that we have out in the county.
How many we don't have so far?
Well, we just had one that was on Liberty Road, right there where the bridge is, and there was the smoke going into the neighborhood, a lot of complaints going on. And again, we had no control of it unless they burn illegally, which is they can't. People understand that tires, shingles, wires, plastics and stuff like that, they can't burn. That's illegal. But wood and burning fields, they can do that. So.
Madam President, to our legal counsel, is there anything we can put in place to alleviate this problem where, I'm not trying to stop nobody from burning, but what they burn, is there any kind of way we can put it where they need to call before they burn, and maybe they not aware of they can't burn rubber and plastic and wires and all that kind of stuff because they mix it in with the wood and then the wind blow and that smell going all in those neighborhoods or whatever the case may be. So is there anything we could put in place where somebody...
Now you can tell what you're burning, because if it's like a black smoke, then you know
that's wrong.
they burn something,
Yeah, I mean, that's an ordinance, that's what you would adopt, saying you can't burn X, Y, and Z.
But that's state really, with tire stuff, that's illegal altogether. So with the fire department, I'm gonna get with the chief on that. If they burn anything that they shouldn't be burning, then it gotta be put out. Either they put it out or we gotta put it out. Well, there can be a fine, like a $500 fine from the state if they burn illegally.
I thought we was mainly concerned about the county because...
But I'm saying the county because the city's gonna be called out first on anything out the county anyway. So that's what I'm saying. I have to let the fire department know also, if they see something that shouldn't be burning, that needs to be put out. Either the owner might put it out, if they can't, then fire department or volunteer, somebody might put it out. Because again, that's illegal and you can't do it now. Like I said, wood and stuff like that, burning fields, they can do that. But we kind of ask them to call in to let us know that they're gonna do a burn. A lot of people wait till the wind blowing real fast and hard and all that, and then they figure it's gonna burn quicker. But sometimes it get out of hand. And we don't want the fire department coming out there on something and putting something out that they supposed to be.
Not even doing.
Yeah, well, or even in control of it. Because they put it out, then they probably end up lighting it back up again.
Now, President, what happens is if somebody calls, then the fire department won't have to go out there because I know every time they go on a call, that's money. And then once they get there, they say, well, with my property, I ain't burning nothing but wood. But if somebody calls and say they're gonna do it, then once somebody calls, but if I pass by and see a big fire,
people
I'm gonna call 911 because I don't know what it is.
See what I'm saying? If they call either the fire department or call dispatch or even call down to our office and let us know, then we'll know it's a controlled burn and they don't have to respond out there unless it gets out of control. But that's what I'm saying, they need to have somebody out there watching it or either cut a line where it don't spray it. But if it do, like I said again, that's when the owners can call and say, look, I can't control it and I need the fire department out there. But if we already know about it, to say somebody off the street call, because they see fire, they see smoke, they gonna call in. But it's something, if they can let us know, then we can let them know, okay, it's a controlled burn. And then dispatch can ask them, is it out of hand? They say yes, then you roll the fire department. So, and if it's a big fire, like most people cut a lot of wood and all that, and they pile them up, it might be something we can let them get a permit from the state on something like that. So.
I just would say, here it is once more again, you said that you had to consult the fire department, fire chief, because they're in there. So what I would probably suggest you to do is, before we try to put anything in place, and had to change anything on the front end, just kind of get with the fire chief and kind of see what y'all come up with, then present us something, and we can probably make a better decision like that. Because not saying nothing wrong, but I hate to make a decision right now, but you say you gotta go see the fire chief.
Well, I'm just saying
And
that
then-
because they gonna be called out
Yes,
first
that's
anyway.
what I'm saying.
But me and him talk because of that situation on Liberty Road,
Yeah,
and we're saying, you know, if it's unattended, nobody's there, go ahead and put it out.
yeah, that's why I said if y'all get together and even, you know, it's just always good not, cause that's how I get a supervisor. Even if somebody call me in the area and everybody here know people all over and they can handle it. But just as a courtesy, as what we do is we respect each other. If we do something, we get on one accord and let them know if I do something in one of these areas. And that's all I was saying about the fire chief is the fire chief. If y'all come to agreement, you coming back and we all be on one side of the court and we can move forward.
Yeah, 'cause like I said, because we had been pretty much on talking about this for the last week,
Okay.
trying to figure out what's going on. I left a card out there at the place, never heard anything back, and every time I go out there, he's not there. And that's another question that I have for Scott, and I know I talked to Supervisor Gray. On lock gates or chain that's kind of setting the boundary for private businesses or land or this ownership, could I go across that, you know, legally and check what's going on?
Depends on what your, intentions are. If your intention is you see a fire and you're gonna go across it, then yeah, you certainly can. If it's to do some sort of investigation or potential arrest, then no, you can't. So that's kind of your, it depends on what you're doing.
Yeah, it was pretty much out, so it wasn't really a problem.
Yes, so the way the law works is if it's for investigatory purposes, you gotta have a warrant. If it's administrative, meaning you think there's a danger going on, so you're going across and your intention is to relieve that danger, then that's fine. So
Okay.
it just depends on why you're doing it.
All right, that's what I need to know, 'cause like I said, he wasn't out there, and he set the boundary by putting the chain there.
And you gotta be reasonable when you do it too, because you know you're going on someone else's property, people may, you know, you don't wanna get hurt yourself too, you know, it causes thing too. So it's always being reasonable, and that's, you know,
All right.
it's always preferable that you know, get with the landowner or whatever before you cross, but if you see a fire, yeah, y'all gotta get there and get.
Yeah, I know the fire is in danger, it probably would be, if there's something that we can go ahead and do, yeah, but it looked, like I said, it was almost out. And I didn't think I could cross that because of that, that's what I was talking to Supervisor Gray about.
You're welcome to call me on that one next time, but this particular guy, and next time I can give you his number. I know why I put the chain up. People started dumping on him, he let one or two do it, and they told other people. And they piled it up so bad, he covered that whole lot. I went over and shoved everything up for him, and then he set it on fire a couple of days later. I think the battalion chief was called in that situation.
Yeah.
But that fire was huge. And but I think he's gonna stop people from dumping there like that. They just kind of overwhelmed him. He didn't even know what to do with it.
Yeah, 'cause I think, the guy on the building, Wimber, was next door to him, and said that that's why he think put the chain up, because people started putting stuff
Yeah,
out
that's
there.
exactly what it was.
And
He was just
because I want to
being too
let him
nice.
know that he's gonna be responsible because that's his property.
Yeah.
And he was sitting on top of the hill next to that creek. If anything was got in the creek, then it'd been a bigger problem with the state. But after everything was cleaned up, I saw, well, it didn't look like it was gonna be a threat to the creek anyway, because everything's on the backside of it.
Yes.
So, no, we're just asking people if they're gonna burn anything, either call the fire department, call dispatch, or call our office and let us know what's going on so we can be prepared. And if we know if it's a controlled burn and we know unless it's out of hand, we can go or don't have to go, you know. So, and we also just kind of being courteous to the neighbors. Because again, they're responsible for smoke. We might have an accident, car accident or something like that, they're responsible for it. I mean, they probably tell you, you know, why, but you said the fires and stuff like that, well, y'all watch where the wind blowing, because that was going straight to the neighborhood. And there was a lot of complaints, so we kind of encourage to your neighbors also. And also, last thing, I just wanted to see, did the board approve us looking for the grant for the self-contained breathing apparatus and also gear? I know we were talking about the last meeting, but I don't remember if anything was approved.
We approved for you all to
To
apply
apply
for
for
it.
it,
Yeah, we approved for you to apply for it.
All right, 'cause I was talking to Lynette, or Alan was here last time. I just wanted to make sure before we go and start looking.
Okay. Yeah, make contact with them just to make sure that we approve that, but I think we approved that last meeting.
Yeah, I talked to Lynette, last weekend. That was, she didn't really know. So I said, let me find out. So we'll go from there. All right, that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. Ford. Item S.
Good morning, board. There's a couple of updates, really. As it relates to 26 Cleothea, we received comments from NRCS on Thursday with some comments to address. We addressed those comments and submitted it back to them the next day on Friday. In the meantime, we prepared the advertisement document, so we're expecting to get approval of those plans following this review. And then we can set an advertisement date to try to get that project under construction. And then we'll prepare the legal documents for any kind of easements, anything like that we need for that project. And get those to you, Mr. Scott, so we get the landowners to sign on those. So that project is progressing, get close to construction. Once I get approval from the plans, of course, from NRCS, we can set an advertisement date for that. The striping project, we finally received the approved program form. So we'll be submitting the preliminary plans to state aid in the morning and get those. For as Burke Road is concerned, we have the program form. Once I get the program form back from Ms. Dean, once I get them back, then we'll submit that to state aid as well and try to get that project moved over. Once we submit that program form, MDOT's going to send the county a modification to the MOA, allocating how those funding for that flat project will be spent. As far as the forfeiture letter, I did reach out to state aid, and that was from Gee Road. And I did explain to them about the potential of, deprogramming that road. And I have 3 roads. I drafted a letter to state aid, to the state aid engineer, saying that we're thinking about deprogramming that road because of right-of-way issues. And we did explain that we could try to continue to try to acquire the right-of-way for that project. But in the meantime, to make sure we allocate those funds, we would reprogram 3 other roads. And out of those, we can either do Jackson Point Road, Roxy Road, or Pickering Road. And we can try to get funds from that was allocated for the Gee Road pool and allocate it to one of those 3 projects. And so the board can decide on that. But in the meantime, I'd rather just go ahead and submit the letter to Mr. Harley to let him know that we're thinking about deprogramming the Gee Road and get those LSBP funds reallocated to one of those other 3. Those only 3 projects that are LSBP funds available.
And which was those 3?
Yeah, Jackson Point Road, Roxy Road, and Pickering Road. Well, I know Pickering Road, I think Mr. Dollar mentioned it, y'all already done some sort of work to that bridge already. When we were thinking about programming it before. So right now you may be looking at Jackson Point Road and Roxy Road.
Okay.
Madam President, on Jackson Point Road, I know that you, Supervisor Wilson's asked about potentially abandoning that point of it as well. I know that's also in Supervisor Middleton's district. Typically, that when you abandon a road, it starts from the supervisor whose district it's in. So if that's something that we can want to discuss, and as I told you before, it's good to get with the landowners and see if they were okay with that, and I think they may be. I think it's cool.
That's one of my understanding too, and that's why I want to do that. I hate to see our road crews have to drive that many miles and spend days doing a road that less than 1% of the citizens in Adams County ever even see.
And it's a substantial amount of money to keep that going, as it has been. So that's something we can try to make sure Wes is, I guess, on board. You don't have to, but I think that's always been the board.
Well, that's probably something we need to discuss with Supervisor Middleton is here, and see what he wants to do with that, since he's in his district. Okay.
Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll just send over the draft letter to you, Mr. Scott, for you to review the letter, and then it has to go, of course, on the calendar ahead, and then submit it.
Yeah.
We
that we're gonna talk about. If possible, that's what we're gonna do, we still need to try to, if any way it's possible, look at getting them a better, quadrant road right there on.
Now.
Yeah.
Right, we got an estimate for it, so.
We'll look at that once we're getting, supervisor level here, we'll all look at it together and make a cross decision from that.
I'll try to update Wes and then maybe we can talk about it in the board meeting.
That's what I
All those
said,
things.
we want to get everybody the same thing.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not trying to sabotage all Wes over there. So.
Nah, yeah, we gonna make sure that don't happen.
You got anything else?
Just update, LEPN Road. We were gonna go out today and do a visual inspection to compare the road to you all's ordinance that you have. One of those things that outlines the ordinances that they were supposed to submit, 36 by 24 plans to the county. If I can get a copy of those, that'd be great. Just so that we can investigate the subsurface.
Yeah, that's in both, right? Scott, do you have any idea who did that? Those roads out there?
On both roads?
Both Lepin specifically.
Yeah, that's all Glenn Green's, he's the one that developed that,
This is the very last section that was put in. It was a paved road instead of just asphalt.
Mhm.
And so they're asking us to adopt those roads. And they might actually be some really good roads.
Yeah.
This time, yes.
If they, well, so then what we would do then,
He's gonna go look at and inspect them.
make sure they comport with our ordinance, and then it's an application like anything else. And it's always up to the board whether they want to accept it or not, but the first hurdle is to get it through our engineer, make sure we're not accepting a big headache, because that's the last thing.
Make sure the drainage and all that is.
Yeah, because that's the one
I wonder if JK&S did the original engineering out there, who might have done that.
I would assume that's if they did it. They've always done that.
All I need is they as-built, anything like that, just so we can see, because there are certain requirements I have that's beneath the pavement that I would have to be able to.
Maybe Brian could answer that.
Okay.
Yeah, and George, if you email me too, I'll forward it over to them banning it. And, you know, we'll probably have to ask them several times, but we'll do that and we'll stay on top until we get the information we need.
Okay, but for everything that we can see, we will inspect, we provide a report based on what we can see until we get that information.
Do you have a copy of the ordinance?
Yes, I have.
Okay, good.
Any more questions for me while I'm here?
I don't have a question, I just want to make a statement in the process of doing what you're doing out there on that road. Please make sure the drainage okay.
Make sure the drainage is.
We got some problems out there in an area where when it rain, man, it's getting all in people's yard and once you accept it, it's on the county. And I'm just gonna be honest with you, in the past, accepting stuff was political and not going out and inspecting and make sure that's what's best for the county.
No, what will happen is if we get out there and we see potential drainage issues, I'm not sure what the makeup is. If it's open ditch or something like that, then we may have to just call our survey over to take some shots just to make sure the ditch is flowing. I see y'all have a flow line, slope that we have to abide by, so I just verify that. If I need to call my survey, he come take a couple of quick shots just to see what those elevations are looking like.
And these particular landowners are willing to pay for any upgrades have to be done before we accept the roads. That shouldn't be a problem if there's something wrong out there within reason.
We're gonna have to get that in.
Right.
Absolutely.
It will be, there's some lawyers involved.
Yes, and I think there are some specs of what the roads are supposed to be.
Yeah, I have.
With the engine,
Yeah,
how much the drainage and all that. You have all that?
Yeah, this one, she was kind enough to provide me with the ordinance.
Okay, great. Go ahead.
Well, this is for the board, but I think the engineer had to be involved in the lawyer. I know we was, which I think is the old project, Dave Levy Road was through JKS. He left Dave Levy out behind the Sawmill and Vaughn Drive. Well, I had a question, on Vaughn Drive, right by the fire department, they wanted a no, through truck traffic sign. Cause, I did talk to JKS, they did open the road around Dave Levy, but, a couple residents said that trucks are coming down that road late at night and stuff like that, vibrating. She wanted to know if you could have any no truck traffic sign And I think that'll be through an engineer also, but it also will be state too, will it?
I was gonna ask you, by that being a city road.
Von Drive is a city road?
Yeah, right at the fire department.
Can we put a whatever sign on a city road?
It starts with the city, they're the ones.
Okay.
So I need to see the city, I need you to contact the city.
We'll both do it.
We'll do that.
Find out who the alternate is, and you contact them, and I contact them, and see what it is.
The next question is, to my understanding, and I might be wrong, I thought that was the reason they did that project for the big trucks to come off of Vaughn Drive and start taking that new road that we spent all that money for, and they won't have to utilize Vaughn Drive.
Yeah, you're probably right, Supervisor Gray.
Sign that check.
That's what I remember, but I hate to.
I think Billy, Alderman Billy Joe is that Alderman, I think, for that area. That's it. It's,
Billy
yeah,
Joe.
Billy Joe.
Billy Joe?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll get with Billy Joe and find out. I just want to make sure I'm interested.
Okay. Anything else?
That's it.
Okay.
Well, as always, I appreciate you all's time.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Ford, when you do those bids on EWPs, is there a way you can have a fixed cost as the bid as opposed to a unit pricing cost? Is that something that's possible?
To my lump sum?
Right.
No, typically because of the material, they have to be unit price based project.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it?
Yeah. Wish we had a fixed price, because then we wouldn't have half the problems we got. No, I wasn't arguing with you.
Maybe help.
Good morning, Robert.
Good morning.
I've got a few things this morning. First is gonna be our trash report. District 1, 14, District 2, 14, District 3 not available. I'll have to find out what that is. District 4, 44, and District 5, 65 total bags.
What was District 3?
Not available right now.
Not available, no trash.
Also, we got to send some reimbursements to MDOC. One of them for a total of $560. And the other one is $4,220.
You heard the request?
So moved.
And motion by Supervisor Gray, second by Supervisor Gaines, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carried unanimously.
Also, I have one new hire for Trail Irving as a jailer at a rate of pay $12.60 an hour.
What's that name?
Last name is Irving. First name is Cottrell. Trail Irving.
Okay.
Rate of pay was how much?
$12.60.
You heard the request?
So moved.
Got a motion by Supervisor Gray,
Second.
second by Supervisor Wilson. Any discussion?
I'm just gonna ask a question. Is it always been $12.60?
For
That's a
jailers.
jailer, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank
All in favor, say aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carried. Anything else?
I've got 3 more employees. They've been hired in jail also. Nicara Virgil.
Hold on this morning, let's see about that goes. Okay,
That was at a rate of $12.60 an hour.
okay, you heard the request.
So moved.
Got a motion by Supervisor Gray, second by Supervisor Gaines, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carried unanimously. What's the next one?
The next one is Lorraine Johnson as a jail detention officer, $12.60 is the rate of pay.
Heard the request.
So moved.
Got a motion by Supervisor Gray, second by Supervisor Gaines, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries unanimously.
Okay, this next one is a rate of pay change. He actually works in jail and he's gonna be moving to an outside criminal deputy on the street. And his pay is gonna go from $12.60 to $16.01.
Give me that name.
Marshall Edmonds.
With it 16 what?
1601 from 1260 to 1601.
Thank you, heard the request.
So moved.
Got a motion by Supervisor Gray,
Second.
second by Supervisor Wilson. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries unanimously.
Okay. The next three were on the grant. They're working on the VOCA grant. And Trinell, her rate of pay is gonna be $17.86.
Is somebody new?
No, she's doing with the grant.
That's a reduction.
It's a pay
increase.
Right, it was a pay reduction.
Pay rate change.
Since
So
we
it's a
took the cut
reduction,
on that grant, we had to cut all three of their salaries.
and it's on
And
Terrell.
this, right, this is on, Trinell Tarleton.
Okay, you heard.
17 what now?
Her rate's gonna be $17.86.
You heard the request.
So moved.
Got a motion by Supervisor Gray,
Second.
second by Supervisor Gaines. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries unanimously.
Okay, the next one's gonna be Derek Freeman, he's also working on the grant. He took a reduction in pay also, he went from $19.69 an hour to $18.93.
You heard the request.
So moved.
Got a motion by Supervisor Gaines, second by Supervisor Wilson. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. All opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries unanimously.
Okay, the last one is Matthew Henderson. His, rate of pay at this time due to the 5% was $19.88, and he's gonna be reduced back to $18.93 also.
Heard the request.
So moved.
A motion by Supervisor Gaines, second by Supervisor Wilson. Any discussion?
Mr. Slow, just a question. When we have somebody, on the grant, and they being paid by the grant, so then once we give them a raise, then that money comes from the county, not the grant, right?
It just depends if the grant gets written in a certain way. We pay the salary and seek reimbursement for the grant. Is that right on the VOCA grant?
But with the grant, those employees that were not included in the raise. Cause their money is only based upon that grant, that's refundable.
Oh, I'm just asking a question.
Right, they don't get a raise.
They get paid straight through the grant.
That's it.
Okay.
We pay them, the grant pays us.
Right.
The grant doesn't pay us.
I got you. I just want to make
I
sure.
think you can only make those changes through that grant.
Grant, right, so it depends on the money that we receive from them.
And that's probably why we did a reduction because of the grant was not, yeah.
Sometimes they get increases with the grant.
Yeah.
You know, that's good for them, so living it out of the grant.
Yeah, cause at first they was making more, they were making 18 something.
Yeah.
That which is more than the
What they
difference.
making now,
Yeah.
yeah. Nothing else?
Okay, the only other thing I have is, the cameras that we're talking about putting in throughout the county. It's a total of 31 of the cameras. I think 16 of those are gonna be purchased by the county. And, Chen recommended, we went out and talked to people that own businesses and stuff about the Wi-Fi part of it. And looks like most of the people are on board. We got, probably 4 or 5 people that we're gonna have to recontact. But the list, I've got a complete list of the locations where we're gonna put the cameras, and, the list is just about complete. We, like I said, we've got probably 4 or 5 more people that we've got to contact on, and then we'll have this list completed.
Okay. Alright, I know I was contacted about, in the LaGrange area.
And one of them is at,
Yes,
Greenfield at the playground.
Yeah, right, I think they need to know if there's somewhere they can get some Wi-Fi from one of the residents. So,
That, I think that was one of them there, and, one of them was Village Square Park, 61 North.
okay,
Ronnie Lee owns the car wash out north of Kenneth Gray's. We've talked to him. And also on State Plant Road at Green Acres in front of the M&M Lounge. We hadn't made any contact with anybody there, but we're still working on that.
okay. And I need to check, I'm gonna check with Brandon to see if we have some Wi-Fi out there, because I thought we had cameras at the LaGrange Center.
I think they got cameras up, but I don't think they're not on the internet. They're just there in case something happens, they can roll the video back.
Okay, alright. Alright,
And that's all I have at this time.
thank you.
So, Madam President, I got a question. I mean, they say channel 16 by the county, I guess the rest of them gonna be by the residents, right?
Sorry?
You say 16 of the, we gonna have to take care of 16 of them, right?
Right.
And the rest of them gonna be taken care of
by individuals that already have Wi-Fi at their house.
Okay, my question is, when is all this gonna take place?
I think as soon as we, from what I was told, as soon as we can, get everybody to commit on it, I think we're gonna go forward with it.
Okay.
Is the board approved of that amount?
We can approve of it.
Yeah, we trying to.
See how much.
No, I'm talking about,
The county's only purchasing 16 of them though.
And what would be that cost?
And the
What would be that
total,
amount?
I don't have that in
You
front
don't
of me.
have that?
I can get it for you.
Okay.
I think they've got a total of 31 cameras, and 16 the county is gonna be responsible.
And that's, excuse me, Madam President, but that's what I talked to the sheriff about. And the thing we talked about is trying to get a complete price on, the cameras. And, I think he told me like 2 places, maybe that, they didn't have Wi-Fi, and we were gonna try to figure out. So that was the thing that we need to try to get a concrete price on what it's gonna cost us with the places. He said, I know he told me, he said, most of the places were covered except about 2 places. Remember LaGrange, one of Bravo store.
And I think they talked about putting some hot spots.
So we want a total price to figure it out so we can give it to our administrator to see if we can work it out. So I think that's what, Ms. Gray, that's what we was trying to get a total price and give it to her and make sure, so as soon as y'all can actually figure out,
I'll find out.
Other folks, send that, amount to the administrator.
Okay.
As you would.
And like I said, they may have already those figures now, so, just as soon as I find out, I'll make contact.
Okay.
Thank you.
my concern is the same thing, because I don't want, this is November, and I don't want December to go by, and January, we still talking about the same thing, and this is a place where we need to protect our citizens.
Right.
And it need to happen as soon as possible. I mean, when I found out that they found that young man body in Morgantown, off of Google Road, I mean, that did something to me, man. I'm like, how can a person be outside that long, nobody smell nothing, on a human body, and we find him 2 or 3 months later? Something wrong with that. I mean, I know you got stuff you can put over people where the smell won't go there, where the buzzards won't come down, but I mean, if we got people out here knowing about how to do all that, man, we got a serious problem in our community. You know, and in the past, and even when I was with the city, I said we got a spirit of violence in our community. The only way it's gonna get off is gonna have to be prayed off, and that's gonna mean all the spiritual leaders and everybody else gonna have to come together and and pray this thing off instead of thinking law enforcement and elected official could make it go away, because that ain't gonna happen.
Okay, anything else?
That's all.
Okay, thank you. All right, any public comments? Any public comments? Any public comments?
Kane?
Okay, coming to the table, Supervisor Gray.
Yes, Madam President, I guess we all received these emails from Ms. Verna Johnson for the problem that she had with Justice Court office with no security or nobody down there. So that's something we need to try to alleviate, man, because there should be no court in this county with no protection from some kind of officer or something, and especially Justice Court.
Yeah.
Because tempers get crazy in Justice Court. But when you go to those other courts, they got all the security and got all the protection, and when you go in a court and don't see nobody in there with a uniform on, you figure you can just say and do anything you want to. So this is a situation that we need to take care of immediately.
Okay, well, hold on, Supervisor Gray.
Madam President?
Go ahead.
Yeah, and I think we all got the same correspondence, and I went and, I think you and I talked about it too a little bit, Ricky. I went and asked Paige to pull the minutes when we used to have a full-time bailiff there. And according to the minutes, those duties of that bailiff, that position wasn't to change. That was supposed to be the same duties, not supposed to whatever. And I know that moving him to a deputy was for his own personal gain. We wanted him to get experience, to better himself and so forth, but that should not have pulled him away from those duties of that position, according to the minutes. Now, that doesn't mean he personally has to stay there, although he was at the time doing other work for the Justice Court. I still think that there should be somebody there all the time. That's one of the more volatile courts that you have, because you ever want to make someone angry, give them a speeding ticket. I know Billy can probably say that. So paying it, I mean, people are just upset about it. So that's what the minutes said. It wasn't supposed to take anything away from that position. I think that I don't think that there's any loss of any security during court. I think this is, I don't know if the security's there when they're not in court. And that was the question. I forwarded it to the sheriff and asked for his attention on it.
Did you get a response?
Haven't gotten. He said he would look into it. Haven't gotten a response back from him. So, but according to the minutes, that position is supposed to. Those duties are supposed to stay the same.
Yeah, because when I received it, I forwarded it to Attorney Slover to talk with the sheriff about it. And I think a bailiff is in there all times during court. Am I correct?
During court, I believe that's the case. I don't think that that's, but I will get confirmation from Vernon to be sure, but I think that's not the issue. They've got other issues. People coming in to pay fines, they still can act full. So I think in this case, the person had a bench warrant out sitting in court. They're complaining they didn't have enough notice, and then they wanted to see the judge. And that's, you can't just go see the judge because that's ex parte communication. It's difficult to explain that to people, and so tempers can get out of hand. That's why it's good to have somebody there to make sure that everything stays
And that's what
calm.
I think she's looking for, full-time security, that they have security at all times. But like you say, I think that's what what's his name, Denzel is supposed to be for. And I think he's supposed to be there at all times.
And that's the thing. I don't necessarily, the board can correct me if I'm wrong. That the duty, I think the key is to having somebody there for security purposes all the time. Y'all demand it be the same guy or what? I don't know if he's trying to, be on patrol or whatever. Yeah, I don't know if that was the impression of the board. I think y'all were happy with him doing something, doing better or whatever, if that's who he is. But I think the important part was having somebody there, who can protect.
Well, the only reason I brought this up, I got the same email as everybody else got, and I wasn't aware that this had been forwarded to nobody else because the problem still exists.
Mm-hmm.
So my thing is, this is November the 1st, and our next meeting is November the 15th. I really don't even want to be discussing the same thing on November the 15th when we should be trying to alleviate this problem right now. So we need to find a way to alleviate the problem right now. Before they go back to court, this problem needs to be alleviated.
That's why he needs to get with the sheriff and get a response on the email that he forwarded to him.
Scott, let me ask you this, what about the constables? They fall under the jurisdiction of justice court, I mean, no.
I don't think we need to open up the can of worms. I think we need to do what we were doing in the past, and it was working. I don't think we need to open up the can of worms with the constables.
I don't think the board wanted to, and according to the minutes, the board didn't want to reassign that position. They wanted that position to be filled. They weren't giving the sheriff an extra body. They wanted that position to stay the same. They were really looking for, that guy wanted to go to training and become a deputy and all that. No one wanted to hold him back. He's doing a good job. But at the same time, the point wasn't to get rid of a spot from the county and give it to the sheriff's office. And that was specifically said not to happen. And that's kind of, I don't want to accuse it of saying it is happening or not happening. It's being said it's not happening, and that's what we're trying to get to the bottom of.
I think we were reassured that that wouldn't happen.
Right.
Yeah.
Is there any way you could start rotating one of these courthouse deputies over there?
We can do that.
Just assured up.
We're actually doing that now.
Okay.
We're rotating them out now.
Okay.
Yeah, cause they need someone full time.
Yeah,
You just
right,
never know what'll
yeah,
happen over there, you know,
I-
anything can happen.
Well, next, do we have a problem with the, leaners and hangers? Is that a problem?
Is that a problem? I think that's something.
I'm asking.
It's something that I don't think we anticipated as being just talking about the grant we're working on.
From what I read like on the email, like it was a problem.
Yeah, so the grant that we got from MEMA, we got 1.7 is the amount of cost on there. It's actually gonna come up in easy report, but we can bring it up now.
Yeah, the cost is, 1.7 million.
So we're gonna come out of pocket that amount of money
Right.
and then get reimbursed 12.5.
1.
I'm sorry.
1.5.
I wish that.
So the, county portion would be 220,579.
And was that the original, was that how that was supposed to work? Or
Well,
I
I
thought we
think-
were supposed to have a copy of it?
I think that amount was something we can still handle. The big concern is whether we get that reimbursement or not. I think that's kind of what we're real concerned with. Am I wrong?
That they might disqualify some of it.
That's what we're very concerned about.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what I'm concerned about. I'm getting calls from them people saying people cutting stuff down, just leaving it there and ain't never coming back to get it.
Yeah.
So for anything happen, we need to make sure that, what we paying for, we got that service.
I know I talked to Robbie about that too, because I was getting those calls too, Supervisor, right? And, I had him like different areas, you know, they were still there, and when I passed through there, they was almost kind of, you know, deteriorated, you know, because they hadn't gone back. So, I talked to Robbie about making sure they get them, and I know their deadline is what, November the 4th?
Yeah.
And which is four per fifth, one of them, four, right? So we're talking about 3 more days that they're gonna have all this cleaned up. And I talked to Robbie again on Thursday about it. And he said he talked with them and they was for sure that they would have all this cleaned up by the 4th.
Yeah, do we have to, excuse me, do we have to make a motion to pay these people?
Do you have to make
Well,
a
it
motion?
need to be made perfectly clear. If the job not done, then they won't get paid. I mean, I'm just one vote. They won't have my vote to get paid.
So, yeah, and Robbie's out of town, so we need to, you know, I know y'all ride your roads, but be diligent in those too, or tell somebody, designate somebody who's supposed to do all that to do it, because Robbie's gonna be out. So,
We'll talk to somebody.
because I don't think your administrator or your attorney know what to ride or what, so, you know, somebody
Right,
needs
to make sure that it's all done.
If y'all gonna ride your roads, make sure they're picked up to your satisfaction, or let us, and if they're not, let us know, Meg, Angie, Scott, let us know so we can, all three of us, so we can make sure that they do what they're supposed to do. And if you want somebody else designated to do it, tell them to make sure someone rides the roads to see that they were cleaned up.
Yeah, someone needs to ride the road, all roads to make sure they're cleaned up.
If that's what the board wants to do.
The next thing on that, deal is, I really can't, the sheriff is not here, I really want to talk about the safety of the jail, but since the sheriff is not here, I'm gonna skip over that till he, get back. It was brought to my attention that on our county website, that, I don't know, that it's not posted, just say we have meetings, it's not posted that we have meetings on the first Monday and the third Monday. So could we get that, if it's not on there, could we get that added on there?
Okay, I'll check, I'll do it.
Thank you. And the last thing I have, I have an obituary. My sympathy goes out to Supervisor Alonzo Greer from Holmes County. You be sitting at the table with somebody 1 minute, then next thing you get a call and say they done passed away. The Scrooge family, the White family, the Johnson family, the Green family, the Robinson family, the Pyrone family, the Davis family, and the Cabot family. That was the young man they found in the Morgantown area. Last, I just want to encourage everyone to get out and cast your vote tomorrow because we do have an election. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Supervisor Gray. Supervisor Wilson.
Yeah, okay, I just want to give my condolences to Bernie Fire and family. I told y'all 2 weeks ago that he was in bad shape. He died a week ago, and he was just a really, really good man. And I also would like to encourage people to vote tomorrow, and that concludes my report.
Supervisor Wilson. Supervisor Gray.
Yes, ma'am.
Can I vote tomorrow? I moved.
You're still
Yeah.
in the same district you were in then,
Yeah.
I guess.
Well, I think what you have to vote fast. Just
go vote.
Just vote right now.
Just want to make sure it's all right.
Yeah, you just go right back and then, I mean, you could tell them when it's just.
Okay.
We should have to do affidavit.
Yeah, affidavit.
Okay.
If you show them, you show them.
It's
Look
a county-wide election.
Right.
That's where you voted.
Yeah.
Countywide election, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, they don't make no difference. Countywide
Yeah.
election, they let you vote
Okay.
for supervisor or something like that.
Yeah, it's kind of hard.
Well, I always, there's just a few things, not much, but I do have a lot of concerns. I mean, everywhere I go about Morgantown Road, I think I seen an email or text from Supervisor President Hutchins that we'll have Greg Hopper and team that'll be here on the next meeting. I just want people on Morgantown area to know that we are working on Morgantown Road faithfully. So we're working on Morgantown Road, trying to get it done. So I don't want people to think that we forgot about them, because we definitely do that. We are working on Project NOLA cameras to try to make our community safe, because I always say when we have any kind of crime, when we have a death, it matters not what side of town it's on. It affects everybody. When we are trying to bring industry here, people look at those reports. And it's very important to address those problems. People don't want to move in a community where they're scared that they're not going to survive. People bring people in. So let's keep that in mind and try to address those issues. And I always have sympathy for anybody who has passed, but I definitely would say definitely have condolences to the Strickland family. And we lost our pastor. I know he had been pastoring me for 24 years. And we funeralized him on yesterday. And I will also ask prayer for his family and his church family also. And because we'll definitely miss him. When you lose your spiritual leader, that is something that you seriously had to take in consideration to check. Like I said, I've been there 24 years, and my condolences goes to his family and his church family, and that concludes my report.
Madam President, before you move on, I apologize for leaving your name out, but you called me and told me about it, and keep on him, I forget too.
We understand.
Thank you, Supervisor Gaines. Attorney Scott.
Yes, a couple of things. We met with Derek Surratt Wednesday or Thursday. And a couple of different programs that he's trying to reintroduce to the county. And one of the programs that we previously tried to get us on board to do. The first was MASIT, I believe, M-A-S-I-T, MASIT. And it's the insurance funding pool that all the counties are doing. There's about 11 counties that aren't part of the pool. I remember they came to us early on as one of the first counties. And the way a pool works is, it's almost like a self-insured program that you're all joining in together. Not always the best idea to be the first ones into the pool, because most important thing about insurance, you want to save money where you can, but you want to also make sure that they can pay money when you need it. Yeah. And, so we were always hesitant in the past to do it. But I talked to our agent and really just talking with Derek, was Derek Surratt. Anyway, he and the last time we actually tried to apply, I don't know if we were necessarily wanting to make that application again or whatever it is, but he wants us to try to reapply to it. And it could be something that both saves us money and has us the protection that we need. Go
Can I
ahead.
add to this? Let me say this too. When we first came to us and asked us about this, I think there was about, I'm sorry, let's go. It was about, three counties? Maybe 3 counties in it at that time, but now it's 82 counties in it right now. There are 64 counties that's in it now. So you only have 18 counties that's left out there. So if we become another one, there'll be only 17. So that's it. So now they have 64 counties.
They gotta get it, and so both the agent, was suggesting it. Angela and I were like, probably time we look back at it. Plus our rates are continuing to increase with travelers. Not that travelers hasn't paid the claims when we'd like them to. It's just that if there's a way we can better use our money, then that might be good for everything. The time for MASIT, their enrollment period is in April. Now technically we can go ahead immediately and start reapplying for new insurance. You can cancel your insurance or whatever. You would have to pay a penalty if you cancel early enough. Versus if we wait till probably December or so and plan to start making our application process so that we can join April, won't cost us as much on penalty plan. That was the only suggestion that our agent had on it, was maybe wait a few months. But I already said, look, I want to reach out to Derek and see what they might need. So just touch base with him and see how that would work and all that. He certainly said he would. But we could be looking at getting into applying for it, having that during April. That's consistent with our health insurance plan. It's also just a better timing for us to be doing our insurance. August is not a good time for us to be doing anything. We're unsure about our budget, plus our administration's really, really focused on getting that budget correctly, so it's just not a good time. Versus April is a better time. We have more money and that kind of thing. Might be able to pay a premium all at once, and that gives us more options. So, that's good because didn't know if they want us to even bid on it or not. So I'm glad that they wanted us to, and that kind of thing.
Well, everybody bid on it, Scott.
Well, it was communicated differently last time we had our application with them. So anyway, that's all.
Excuse me, Madam President. I just think. I'm just gonna tell the truth. I just think it was a little bad blood between what was going on with that and all that's cleared up now.
It's cleared up.
So we need to try to do this.
Yeah, again, it was all open arms, wanted us to do it, and that was. And I'd already suggested might want to reach out to them and say, hey, can we get y'all's bid? They came to us and said we want you to bid on it. So
that's why we talked to them every time we see them.
Yeah.
This is for property cap.
property casualty, liability, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
And we had a debt service, there's a program, I think 2019, the legislature approved an offset where the Department of Revenue, you have the income tax and you owe money to local governments that after you do certain things that you can get that income tax paid to pay that debt. You gotta give them notice, opportunity to object, a hearing if they object, that kind of thing to do it. And they didn't have really, it was, first you had COVID in 2019, when they first came out, I mean, I remember just saying that there's no way that can be done within that period of time. From July to, I think, November is when you had to have it out. There's just no way that they could have done it within that time. But now they're really starting to push that kind of thing. We met with the various people that handle most of our debt. Sanitation is probably a big one. Your justice courts are the big one. Those are two people. They have fine money and then you have garbage money. Met with them, and Corvette, of course, as well has been on that to do those notices and participate in that program. What you're probably going to see, you're probably not going to capture a lot of money from the state, but getting something in the mail that says, hey, you're going to lose your income tax is going to be a triggering point for people to go pay. At least that's what NAS has said. That's what they've witnessed. They capture some money, and that's any money's good, but the main push is this gives, another tool, and that gives people incentive to go get what they need to get.
And Supervisor Gray and the county administrator was in Oxford at this meeting too, and he did reiterate that when he was here, that one county, I think it was Panola County, that they did it for, and they collected $20,000, on doing it in their debt service. We are already signed up as a participant for debt service. It's just a matter of fact of getting it started.
Yeah.
So we are already signed up. It's just we need to get it started.
And not to correct you, it was $20,000 in debt that they received, but then another $5,000 actually got from the state. So it was a nice chunk of change that we wouldn't probably already get. So that'll be a good thing. And then in the past, we've had this, I don't know why the program went by the wayside, but it did with inmate health care. Presently, what we're doing, if we get bills, they get to my office, I send them denial letters, I send them letters to do a bunch of stuff and it's pretty inexpensive for us to do that. I haven't pulled the money, but I'm probably less than $1,000 a year. Send them letters and whatnot, denying them and all that stuff. Most of it's not done with me. I just have my guy that works for me send the letter, so that doesn't hardly cost anything. So we get them, we get the rates reduced. At that point, we send them to bookkeeping to get paid. What I'd like to do, is get into this program. What they do then is it's like another layer. We go through our process denying claims and making sure they're right and all that. And then when it's ready to be paid, what we can do is send it to NAS, to their program. They'll review the same thing to make sure that what we came up with is accurate. If it needs to be reduced further, then it'll get reduced further. We'll have to pay 10% of whatever they get reduced. And then, it'll be, so it doesn't cost us anything to do, because if nothing else gets reduced, then we don't pay anything. But if it's more, it's 10% of whatever we get saved. So it's a program I think is something we need to do. We need to make sure that we don't change how we're doing it, because I think y'all can. I certainly, if y'all want to just send them forward to them, it makes it easier for me. I don't have a problem with that. I think it would be more expensive for the county to do. So I'm not trying to keep it in my office. Believe me, Sam would love for me not to do it anymore. I already said, let them do it. But no, it doesn't cost us that much to do on that end. But that's something that I think that, would be good for us to do, if that's okay with the board.
I don't know how y'all feel, but like I said, we had it before and it fell by the wayside and it was working. So he did say that, you don't have to change the way of doing it. Scott office handled it, but if it get to a point that they needed that help, that they was there for that reason.
And I'm fine with y'all. Again, it's not a moneymaker on my end. So I think it's in our interest to keep doing it the way we're doing it. I'm not trying to keep it for that reason, for selfish reasons. But I also forgot to add that there is, for our prescription medication, this would also, right now we have a really good plan with a prescription medication for any inmate that we can predict then we get a mail order and they send it in individual packets, and that's really good. It's at the rate that we need it to be and all that. But if we have an unexpected inmates that needs immediate medicine, so to speak, can't wait a night, then we have to go to the local pharmacy, in which case we end up paying more than what we should be paying. This program would help offset those costs, would reduce it as well. So it's an added benefit. That's something I'm not doing, and not, I wasn't capable of reducing on that anyway. Whereas they would be able to do that through the kind of like an insurance. They go run through an insurance provider, and that's how they end up doing it.
They would just make sure we're getting a better rate, through the Medicaid. So,
that's something
make
the board
sure we
wants to
get
do.
that Medicaid rate.
That's fine with me.
Yeah, then just move to adopt the agreement that previously agreed before in the past.
So I guess we need to do the debt settle, the inmate care, and then let them check with Massett. Check with Johnny Burns, get with Johnny Burns on the Massett.
I've already talked to them, and if y'all are okay, again, we can go ahead and say start shopping around for insurance now, but it might cost us more.
Yeah, well, it's just my suggestion. Right now, we already, when I'm here at the table, we got a debt that's already unexpected. And I don't think that'll be a wise decision to start shopping for insurance that's gonna cost us more. Right now, you brought it to us, you got with them. I think the later date would be more appropriate because we need to save every dime we can.
I agree with that. That's right. But that's, again, sure decision, that's why I'm going to.
Yeah.
Wait on the Massett.
But so Johnny should have already reached out to him to say, hey, let's be in communication and make sure we're looking at trying. And Derek was fine with that too. He preferred us applying in April. He was more than willing to let us apply immediately as well. So it's not like they're pushing us, but yeah, I think that we'll be in contact and say this is what we're looking at. Make sure we have the documents updated, so Randy gets to go back and do all that stuff again too. But anyway, but yeah, so that's the plan on that end.
Okay.
But the only thing we really need is if you're okay with the prescription plan or the insurance thing, that's something we would have to execute an agreement with for them to do.
Because we already with the debt set off, so if we wanna go forward with them going on doing what they need to do with the debt set off, we probably need a motion for that to go forward with it.
We can do a motion on that. I don't know if we need it on the debt.
Since we already there.
Okay, we can do a motion just in case.
No, that's it. All they need is the motion for inmate, so moved.
Got a motion by Supervisor Gaines,
Second.
second by Supervisor Wilson, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed nay. Ayes have it, motion carries unanimously. Anything else?
Yeah, I was gonna get, Kevin, that on Plantation Oaks will be filed today. I was waiting to get confirmation from something from Paige. She wasn't there Friday, she wasn't there today, but I should be able to find it myself by today. I just wanna make sure.
Okay.
It's not going by the wayside. and
Yeah,
so forth.
doesn't appear.
There is a minutes that's outstanding that you had me do. The time had to run on that one. So that one's.
Okay, next board meeting.
At my next board meeting, let me know if I haven't already, then we'll go from there. I took some of the top 10, 15 or so personal property taxes that had been paid. I sent them letters. I never heard anything back from any of them, and that's okay. Sometimes they contact the tax collector himself. They think they're getting one by us, contacting the tax collection office and go ahead and pay it so that they can skip out the penalties of the 25%, which for us, we've always said, all we're interested in getting the taxes paid as soon as possible. And so that's fine with us if they think they're doing that and get around us. I've not heard anything back from any of them. A lot of them are fairly substantial. So, if need be, we can keep on contacting them or whatever, or we can file suit against them to recover it. Just let me know what we need to do on it. In the past, we filed suit, and that actually kicks payments into gear. But they'll let me know. If you want to do suit, you need a resolution authorizing suit. Want me to get a list of who hadn't responded back?
You've already made an attempt to contact them, they've done nothing about it.
What I'll do is I'll get a list of those I haven't heard back from, and I'll get confirmation from Terrence's office that, you know, they haven't paid, because sometimes they pay, and that's great if they have, not, that's why I tell Terrence, let me know that way. I'm not mad about them not paying us, I don't care, I want us to, you know, get our taxes paid. I'll contact them, and then at the next meeting, I'll have a list, here's how much is outstanding. You know, there might be some that just, we probably can't get, you know, blood out of a turnip from, but nonetheless, we'll look at it, and I'll ask for a resolution for that, if y'all are good with that. Toyota was one of them they had sent. It was helpful because there was a bunch of them that were unpaid, and so we sent a demand letter, and it was a lot of money at the time. Got cleared up that they were being double assessed, and there's still an amount outstanding. I'm gonna get with them and do it. They don't have to come to board meetings. They just pick up the phone and call or send me an email. I'll get my email and try to work something out with them. Because again, we're just trying to make sure people pay their taxes. We're not, you know, trying to run anyone out of business for sure. But I'll have that for y'all next meeting and ask for some action on that. Anything else from me? I'm here.
Okay. County Clerk Brandon Lewis.
I have a couple of items. I did hear back from Janae, and she stated that the claims for JK&S were under one claim number, so it was just one check to pay both of those amounts, the $330 and the $49.10 that Brant referenced. And so it was claim number 409, and she said she actually has the check sitting on her desk because there was a hole and the board had some questions. So if the board wants to approve that, I'll just notate in the minutes which claim number was everything.
I think that was one Supervisor Gray that you had questions about the last time, so you kind of explained it, so you want to go ahead. Can I get a motion?
So,
Got a motion? Okay. Got a motion by Supervisor Gray, second by Supervisor Gaines, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carried unanimously.
We have one bond renewal for November that needs to be spread across the minutes for Catherine Northway. So just one this month.
Is he saying that any motion is to spread out one bond? Okay, got a motion by Supervisor Gaines, second by Supervisor Wilson, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carried unanimously.
Need to have the September tax redemption settlement spread across the minutes as well.
Is there any request? Motion by Supervisor Gaines, second by Supervisor Wilson, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carried unanimously.
And last item I have, Ms. Bill asked that I have spread across the minutes the June, July, and August credit card report this year.
so moved.
You heard the request? Got a motion by Supervisor Gaines, second by Supervisor Wilson, any discussion?
This has got to be done faster on time. That, we got wrote for that with the state audit, so I don't need to do to get them in on time, but that needs to happen.
Will advantage you up to talk to. Okay. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carried unanimously.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay. County Administrator, Ann King.
I have a couple of things. First of all, I have a modification from CC8. And you just sign off on basically, and their modification, the least for modifications that they requested that their their officers' pay increase. They did an increase for their guards, which is $11.10, so they got an increase in their fundings to pay for their officers' raise.
Okay.
So one thing you have to do is sign off.
Okay. Do I need a motion for it? Or anything?
You can always break it off.
Okay, I need a motion. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Got a motion by Supervisor Wilson, second by Supervisor Gaines.
CCA.
All in favor, say aye. All opposed, nay. The ayes have it, motion carried unanimously.
Okay, we've also had a request for funding, this is for the Bellwood levy project, for the $1 million that they said that we should be expecting the money in December or January.
This is to set up a budget, or set up a fund.
So,
Yeah.
well, the fund is already set up, I set it up when I did the budget, because I was there, when it was time.
And that's just a letter requesting the fund.
Request for the funding and to make it clear, basically, so we need to have separate bank accounts. That's why I said the other little take the money that we had, if we could
because you can't mix it together. So, I'm not saying blow the money, I'm saying if it's something that we need to spend the money on, we go ahead and spend it so we can use that same account.
I have a feeling we're not getting,
Open up another account.
Right.
I have a feeling we're not getting that money until the beginning of the year anyway.
Well, they said between December and January.
That's your dollar rate in January.
President is sign off on it.
Because they need it just as much as we do for the same reason. Exactly. Yes, please.
Motion by Supervisor Wilson. Second by Supervisor Gray. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. All opposed nay. Ayes have it, motion carried unanimously. Anything else?
Supervisor Gray, I had my first kickoff meeting, myself and payroll clerk concerning time clocks. So they're moving ahead with the time clocks. So that's it.
You know when it's gonna start?
We have one little problem. And the problem is where our payroll falls on from Wednesday to Tuesday. So therefore, when we turn the time sheets on Monday, we're forecasting Monday and Tuesday. And they said we're gonna have to find some kind of way to work that out because it's kind of real difficult when you're doing time clocks to do a forecast for a time ahead.
Maybe we can ask other counties that might have it.
And sometimes we have turn payroll in on Friday too. So that's probably okay.
The difference between the way this system works is you don't even have to turn the time sheet into payroll anymore. Because you're gonna go in the system and approve your time. And it would be much easier, I guess, I've worked the system before at another place that I worked. And the only time you basically have a problem, you wait till that last day to approve time for the whole week. But you don't have to wait till that last day because at the end of each day, the next day, you can approve that time. So the only thing you're only approving is the time for that last day.
Right.
So it's much easier for payroll and everything. Just the only problem is that forecasting of those days. So we'll work it out. Now the easiest thing, which I know that's not gonna happen, would be is to cut the payroll off, which just means that one payroll employee's check gonna be shorter because the time end is gonna end that day.
So if their check is shorter, will it be made up on the other
It's not gonna get made up until
the next
they
pay year?
leave, because it's gonna be cut off on a Sunday.
Cut their checks short. Oh.
You can't figure that, we ain't gonna take our money for that.
We're not taking the money,
We ain't
it's
gonna,
just a pay.
but we not gonna, I know you ain't taking it, but you still not get that money back if leave. No ma'am, we not gonna have that problem.
That's probably a way of saving, for them to save though. They leave, they have a lump sum.
A couple days.
Yeah, or a lump sum, so we don't
Anyway,
take
it's
that
something
off.
that's gotta be, with anything else, you gotta iron out all the kinks.
Yeah.
You know, so.
We're fine, all right.
We'll work it out.
When do you think we'll have them online?
Well, I'm just following their guidance, they just said they're in the process that we're moving forward, we can offer some things, so we gotta do the trainings and everything.
Yeah, before we,
The departments.
the only reason I asked, before we get them online, we need to have our handbook updated for all that. And we'd sent a proposed handbook for y'all's to comment on. I could resend that out. And maybe next meeting, y'all have your comments and have that adopted and have a time plate.
And they got different systems now, they got where you got the finger punch, you come in the office and you finger punch, and they also have where that you can sign in from your laptop. And like some departments, because we knew there was gonna be a problem with some people don't come in. You know, and they have it where you can.
I don't know if we want them to sign up on their laptop, they could be at home and sign in.
Well, some people don't work for that.
What department they don't?
We don't have no.
I mean, like just say for instance, like the sheriff department, they may leave from home and so they do it.
Sometimes, so they get 10 days, they go on call.
Yeah.
Right, and so they got the apps for departments, whatever works for you, they got like the phone apps, so You just have to figure out what's gonna work best for the department. You know,
Can you do it for certain departments? Like,
you can do it for certain departments.
Okay, okay,
And you know,
And when I
I
say laptop, I mean like the desktop.
yeah, okay.
You know, I don't mean like a laptop from their house. I mean a desktop from their home.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, that's fine. Okay.
I mean, I say this one thing when it comes to supervisors. I mean, I say it for me. Now I'm gonna say it for me. I'm gonna stay open-minded about time clock, because I understand that we ain't never been on a time clock. It's gonna be bumps in the road. We're dealing with this with different departments. Every department is not gonna be able to work the same with time clock. How this thing rotates. So I'm gonna try to stay optimistic and open-minded about it, because I know that we holding our people accountable and they should be held accountable, but you got so many different areas. I mean, a man at the sheriff department, at justice court, the road department, the different places, they don't operate the same. So it's gonna be bumps in the road. I think that we can work over, but I'm gonna keep my mind open, because one department's not gonna follow the other one lead, because it just ain't gonna be possible. You know, for every time we did, and I yield for Madam President.
Do you have anything else? That's all you have? All right, I need to get some new hires approved. This was telecommunication. One, Jasmine Chapman. I need a motion.
So
Our
moved.
hourly rate is $12, annual $24,960. Got a motion by Supervisor Gaines. Need a second?
Second.
Second by Supervisor Gray. All in favor say aye. All opposed nay. The ayes have the motion carried. Let the record state that Supervisor Wilson stepped out. The next one is Hawako Smith. It's a telecommunication one. Then, annual rate, $24,960, hourly $12. I need a motion.
So moved.
We got a motion by Supervisor Gaines, second by Supervisor Gray. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. All opposed nay. The ayes have it, motion carried unanimously. I got another one, Andrea Pickett, telecommunication one. It's a new hiring too. $12 hourly, annually, $24,960. I need a motion.
So moved.
Got a motion by Supervisor Gaines, second by Supervisor Gray. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed nay. The ayes have it, motion carried unanimously. Okay, I have another one, Sandra Haney, telecommunication one. Hourly rate, $12, annually, $24,960. I need a motion.
So moved.
Got a motion by Supervisor Gaines,
Second.
second by Supervisor Gray. Any discussion?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
1, 2, 3, 4.
that's 4 so far.
Do they have anybody working there?
That's why I
At least
asked her to
three.
be here. I asked her to be here, so because I knew some questions was gonna come up, but she left before we got to use.
1, 2, 3. That's, you got some
That's-
more?
Let me see, hold on for a minute. No, that's it, 4.
Good gracious.
I asked her what she doing an exit audit on these, the people that are leaving. She said she tell them they can go do an exit audit, but she don't know if they doing it or not. So, an exit audit hadn't been done. Cause we asked that an exit audit be done
Well,
when they leave.
we need to tell HR to make sure that she take care of that, not the person that's supervising.
Right, but see, when they leave,
They're
they don't go to HR, so she don't even know they be gone. That's the thing.
She be making contact and they're asking to come in for it, and they
Yeah.
may come in, but they already gone.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is this, they may leave, but it's up to their supervisor to let HR know that they gone, so HR got to know that they gone. She
So that's-
might not get the exit audit, but she gotta know they gone, because the supervisor is responsible for telling her
Yeah,
that they gone and she needs to hire a new employee.
that's what I was asking
But
her,
it's
what
after
you doing all
they're
that?
gone, that HR finds out, it's over.
Well,
And they gone.
Because they don't, it's not a 2 week notice thing.
They just
They just
leave.
gone, right?
They don't show up for work.
Right.
Well, Madam President, but I still say this. I mean, at the end of the day, they just leave. Somebody already notifies payroll, because after they leave, we don't just pay them.
Where payroll doesn't know until after they get the time sheet. Somebody could be gone, see, it's a 2 week period. A person may be gone for a week and 6 days before payroll find out, because they're only going by the time sheets.
And that's what I'm saying. The time sheets come in, so, you know, somebody, basically what I'm saying, somebody held accountable. They gonna make sure that they don't stay on our payroll. Even if they turn time sheet in, they gonna turn it in.
Right.
Somebody should be held accountable to at least letting HR know to do it. That's all I'm saying. The same way you let payroll know that they're not here anymore, that we don't pay them for nothing. It should be the same way process that you can let HR know they gone.
HR should know before payroll.
That's what I'm saying. So that's all I'm saying.
And that's a question that I asked her. I say, are you letting, human resource know about an exit audit? And are you telling them before they leave that they can do an exit audit? And she told me she was telling them, so some of them just may not listen.
I'm just gonna suggest from the county administrator just to send out a email
Yeah.
to all the department heads and let them know the steps that they need to take when an employee quit, resign, or whatever the case may be. And they need to follow that. And if they don't follow that, then they need to come see us.
We send those emails out on the regular.
She
So the department heads, over and over, do we not?
She
The
sent
way
me
we
out,
open
I've seen
to tell them to
The way we do it,
refer them to HR, and they still, not all the time, we don't get it.
Well, if they were picking their checks up from HR, the
well,
last
that's what I
check,
should say. Won't you
they would
propose the
certainly
last check?
They're
have
not
to do an
picking
exit
up,
audit.
but they're not picking up a check, it's direct deposit.
No, you can change that.
You can change
Because
it,
we have
we hold
employees-
checks only if they have equipment or something that they.
Yeah, they have our
don't
equipment
get
and we'll hold their check until we get everything
Yeah, but that's
back.
only if they have equipment. They
Right,
don't have equipment.
but they do have some things, but they're not here. That's why I asked the question, how many people do you have still working a year? Because they don't even have time. You know how people want to go ahead and fill out this stuff with payroll, with HR, because they want their first hours. They're not even here long enough to accumulate. It's like most of the turnovers are what, a month?
It ain't much.
Some of them ain't
You
even
got
a
to be
month.
8 years vested, so.
Yeah, some of them ain't even a month.
She
I
might be
I
able
get
to.
that. This is every,
But HR can pick up.
Well,
She can't.
I think
we
I think if we get them in a different
You
building,
have
we
10
can
minutes.
change
I don't
that.
think that's.
To get them certainly help.
It's an exit
I don't know
application
how many times you've
that
been
we
down there.
have.
I've been down there.
It's an interview with a spot.
So we got this problem with the jailers now, and we got this problem with E911. Cause lately, we've been having jailers.
I haven't seen this many turnovers. It's just unreal.
What's going on?
But people don't want to work.
No, because they get free money.
The government's giving them free money, what's their incentive to work? They're killing this country with that crap.
I think they even coming up law. It don't stay there no time. It's gotta be more than that.
The only one working is
It's not
fine
just
jail.
the- it's not just the physical environment.
No, and that's what I told
But
her, it's not
it's-
the environment.
But I will say this again, and I know I sound like a broken record, and I know it might irritate some people, but I still say we cannot fix the problem if all involved parties is there. We sitting up here, we run these, we everybody work under us. We should not have to get, when we got people work for us, call everybody to the table, we can figure it out and fix the problem and move on.
We did that. She's been called to the table many times about.
But well, if she been called to the table a million times, we ain't doing our part. We ain't doing our part because I mean, it's not really hard. If something is going on, you bring everybody to the table and we find out. I mean, everybody. And once we there, we make a decision. So if she been brought to the table, we made a decision to move going on with it. So if you still have a problem, if you bring to the table, then what falls on?
Our decision was, that's where the exit audits came in.
Okay.
That everybody that leaves their department have an exit audit done.
Okay.
And that's why I told her to come here this morning. So because I knew this was gonna come up, there was gonna be a question about it. And I wanted her to be able to explain why this is happening. And you heard her say it, I'm here because I know there's gonna be some questions about the new hires, all these new hires, but she didn't stay around. But that's what we said, that let's do an exit audit so we can find out what are the reasons. Okay. But then when I questioned her, when I saw them, I asked her, are these people doing exit audits? And she said, yeah, I told them when they get ready to quit that they can go over there and do an exit audit. And she said they choose not to. She can't make them do an exit audit, but they just leave.
They might not, but do HR calling them? Or can HR call them? Because when they fill out the
They
paper.
call, they got a telephone, HR has a phone number.
Yeah.
For each person in the system, so
So,
she can call and ask them to come in.
Can we
And I'm gonna
ask
check with her to make sure. So she's calling everybody.
Either just do a phone, I mean,
Just have
an interview, you can do it over the phone, you know what I'm saying?
It kind of has to be done in writing. You know.
Yeah, it does. So they can put a statement in writing. And I
Okay, yeah. All right.
You know,
she'll take care of that.
Okay.
you know, it's just that constant, I got turnovers because the environment and, I mean, that plays a part, don't get me wrong. And the money plays a part, but that may not always be all of the reasons.
That's why we gotta address it together. And I mean, me personally, I'm just saying this, me personally, I mean, I don't like to be did like that, and I don't really want to, and I just ain't gonna do nobody like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, regardless if we call it, if we really need to have a serious discussion, I feel like she needs to be present here. I'm not gonna make a decision, and I don't feel like it's right to make a decision on what's going on in her department. But it's just like you the administrator. You work for us. But it ain't right for us to come up here and make no decision in your department and not know what's going on.
Correct.
Everybody that run the department should be able to come before us and at least that's from the lawyer to all of us. Somebody, you should come before you and tell your side of the story of what's going on, and then we make a fair decision. Because I believe in not doing to other people what I wouldn't want done to me, and I don't feel myself personally. I mean, not saying that you can't go on with the discussion. I don't feel right discussing and guessing what's going on, and you got people. All you got to do is call to the table and have them to tell them what's going on. I mean, if you call and she left, if it's really that important, why not we just call her back over and clear it up? Or either fix it out for the next meeting and get it cleared up. I mean, because it ain't really that bad. If we want to do it, make sure she's here and informed by the next meeting. We need to stay here. We need to have a course for that. If that's okay.
Do you think there need to be, if it's personnel issues, do we need to go into executive session?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, either way, I'm not saying bring it over now, but what I'm saying is, because we going back and forth, for us to fix it, we need the third party involved.
I got a personnel issue when we get past all this.
Yeah, whenever.
Okay. All right, let me finish this. Latoya Earls. This is with Family Drug Court Case Management. It's a rate pay change. I don't know if it's an increase or a decrease, but it's $16.35 is the hourly rate, and the annual rate is $34,000. This is Family Drug Court case. This Family Drug Court.
This is Miss Mary Kay.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so that takes the grants for okay. Got a motion by Supervisor Gaines. Second by Supervisor Wilson. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. All opposed nay. The ayes have the motion carried unanimously. And it does say grant funded position.
I'm sure it
Okay.
is.
All right. The next thing is I got a proclamation from the governor, and this is for the Thanksgiving holidays. But Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's are the legal holidays in the state. We need to approve this for Thanksgiving on Friday, Thursday, and Friday, November the 25th.
In our handbook, we actually have it
We have
automatically.
this, we just have
Whenever the
to.
government approves it, it's automatically approved on ours.
Okay, so do we need a motion or not?
You don't, because it's
We
already in
don't?
our handbook.
Okay. All right, so we don't need that. Okay.
Yeah.
And next.
Anytime the governor says you're off, then it gets, we
So we
automatically
ain't
get
have to
it.
bring that up then.
That's why we get it.
Okay.
Got a really smart attorney that came up with that.
Okay, the only thing else I have is, I think I said something about this, a meeting, last meeting. I need approval, and this to go to Washington is for 2 days. It's with the mayor, Chandler Russ, Attorney Scott Slover, and the lobbyists. And we're gonna meet with the congressional people, plus meeting with Benny Thompson. And it's about some county and city projects. The county projects, I'm not gonna call out the city projects, but the county projects will be Morgantown Road, the Workforce Training Center, the airport terminal, the loading dock, and we can also bring up, since Supervisor Gray said something about that E911 funding, about making sure we get our share of it. I need a motion for December the 6th through the 8th.
So moved.
Got a motion from Supervisor Gaines.
Second.
Second from Supervisor Wilson. Any discussion?
Madam President, I'm just with the lobbyists. We got a meeting with them when?
The 15th.
Of November. And they recommended us to go to DC. I thought this was already in the infrastructure bill, but
I don't, the Morgantown, but not the workforce training, the airport terminal, the loading dock. Oh, it's not in it.
I'm good.
Okay. All right. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carried unanimously. And the good thing is, they also sitting down with Benny Thompson, who is over a lot of this.
Okay.
Which is gonna be.
What is he on?
Well, he's over the Democratic thing, so sitting down with him, he helped us a lot.
In the past, when we sit down with him, he always told us to go to our own people. You go to your own congressional people. So
I guess they got some connections.
He's on major committee.
Yeah, he's on.
yeah, he always been on there.
Okay. Alright. That's all I have.
Yeah, I
Do we
determined
have,
that,
do
Supervisor
we
Gray?
determine from Supervisor Gray?
You did personnel, you did.
Personnel?
Personnel and lawsuit.
Okay,
Yeah.
I need a motion.
Motion
Yeah.
to, yeah, close termination.
Close the room.
So moved.
Got a motion by Supervisor Gaines. Second by Supervisor Wilson. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. All opposed nay. Ayes have it, motion carried unanimously.